My in-laws banned me from Christmas, so I sent them dollar store gifts.
Ho, ho, no.
Throwaway account for anonymity. I, 31 female, married my soon-to-be ex-husband, male 33, in 2018. My in-laws never liked me and made it clear my soon-to-be ex insisted that they're just putting up a tough exterior and that they'll grow to love me. And by the way, this comes from user potential low 8645. And if you want to submit your own stories, where do you go? The r/OK Storytime subreddit, of course, to show how evil they are. One time I joined them for dinner and brought a cake I had made because I always raised to be a gracious guest. And when I stepped into the kitchen and offered the cake to his mother as a thank you for inviting me, she took the plate over to the garbage bin, dumped it in, and handed me the plate back. When I told my husband what she did, he confronted her, and all of a sudden the crocodile tears started as she claimed she grabbed the plate but didn't get a good grip. I let go too quickly and it fell to the floor, so of course it had to be thrown away. My sister-in-law confirmed that was what happened. My soon-to-be ex owned his own business, and they called me a gold digger behind his back. Of course, they insisted on prenup, which I didn't care about because I never thought my marriage would end, and it would appease them and may allow them to finally treat me kindly. Nope. His business failed once the vid hit. We went through his savings and my own trying to keep it afloat. I refused to go into debt to keep it going, so he closed it down. In 2022, he was suffering from really bad depression because he lost his business and couldn't find any new work. He suggested we move to his hometown, closer to his family, so he had a larger support network. Against my best judgment, we did. He wanted to only work part-time while he trained to restart his business, so I became the main breadwinner. And as with most wives, I became the person in charge of buying gifts. Stupid old me thought that buying them thoughtful, expensive gifts would finally make them see I wanted to be accepted by them. Gifts to us were a couple's gift, but clearly for my soon-to-be ex only. Every holiday was spent with them. Monthly dinners with the whole family. After a year, I realized that if I ever tried to talk or join a conversation, everyone would go quiet. So I just stopped talking when I visited. In early December, they finalized plans for Christmas. A few days later, my soon-to-be ex said his family decided they didn't want me to join them for Christmas Eve dinner and Christmas lunch because I ruined the family vibe. I replied, fine, we'll do our own thing instead. My soon-to-be ex sheepishly looked away and said he was still going to go. I was livid and so disappointed in him. That was the moment I knew my marriage was over.
Yes.
So I returned the presents I had bought for his family. In their place, I got one pair of novelty business socks for father-in-law, a supermarket brand bottle of shampoo for mother-in-law, and the nastiest, stinkiest perfume I could find at the dollar store for sister-in-law. The most expensive gift was a large rawhide bone for brother-in-law and his wife's chihuahua, too big for it to get its jaw around, rendering it useless. I saved about $600 to put on a deposit for a new apartment. My husband came home from Christmas lunch telling me I humiliated him and embarrassed him in front of his family. I asked him why would he think I'd buy nice gifts for people who clearly don't like me and don't want me around. Served divorce papers last week. Remember how he was supposed to be a millionaire by now, so we had that prenup? Soon-to-be ex is not eligible for any of my savings. It was required to keep separate accounts. And he's not eligible for alimony. He doesn't have money for rent and auto insurance. Not my problem anymore.
Yeah.
Some of my friends and family, and on my side, are proud that I went out in a blaze of glory. Others are telling me that I was being way too petty, which isn't really like me. So am I the a-hole? Anybody telling you that you're being too petty? Look, I only advocate not being like petty or like seeking vengeance for our own peace.
Yes.
Our own peace. So here's some comments, OP's responses. Commenter says, I would say, be glad you did not have children with him. Yeah, you could say that again. Be glad you can escape and be free with no strings. P.S. This relationship should be a learning lesson on the love that you want for yourself and the life you want, not as a loss. OP responds, first thing I did after I moved into my new apartment was adopt an older cat. I adopted Lightning McQueen from the shelter.
Ciao.
That's great.
He was allergic and I couldn't ever adopt one since we first started living together. We're just two old hags living our best lives after being rejected. I wouldn't even even say you were rejected. I'd say that you like woke up and realized that you didn't want to be with somebody who literally has jellyfish spine.
Yeah, you rejected him as he so deserves.
Yeah,
so deserved.
That person has no business being in your life. Commenter says, "You're not old, silly. So glad you're enjoying the company of an older cat. Car is interesting, but not as cuddly. Your kitty friend will appreciate you and will show far more than your soon-to-be ex ever did. Don't just notice the typo," says OP, keeping it in because it's actually hilarious. Commenter says, "Not the a-hole. He chose his family over you and still expected you to buy all the presents. This was perfectly planned and well-deserved for every one of them, including him." OP says he only worked 12 hours a week at Walmart so he could do non-existent work restarting his business. "I made just over 6 figures and I can't believe I didn't realize years ago I was the family ATM." Commenter, "Not the a-hole. So thoughtful of them to insist on a prenup. I hope you send them a sincere thank you note after the divorce is finalized."
For real.
OP says, "My lawyer even laughed at that prenup that was set up for him is going to be what we use for me. It required both spouses to maintain separate bank accounts and each spouse could keep 100% of their savings. No spouse eligible for alimony."
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Update. Many thanks to everyone for their support in my last post. I thought I'd send a small update. First, for those who asked how the deposit on my new apartment was only the $600 I saved on the gifts, it certainly wasn't. I had to dip into savings, but that $600 helped. My soon-to-be ex didn't bother reaching out to me after I left until he was served the divorce papers, and my lawyer made it clear we're exercising the prenup. Then it was loving voicemails and texts I never picked up from him and his family for a few days trying to convince me to come back, which eventually turned into threatening and cruel voicemails and texts when it was clear that I wasn't going to budge. My lawyer suggested I don't block them so we have evidence of harassment if needed. Basically, give them the rope so that they can make their own fate with this object.
Nice.
But then last night, I got a call after call from my soon-to-be ex. I stupidly picked it up, thinking that there was some kind of emergency. I barely got hello out when he said, "The rent is a week late." I told him that's strange because I paid my landlord 6 days ago. Nice!
Hey.
He paused and sighed dramatically and replied, "No, the rent for here, where I live." I reminded him I don't live there.
Ooh.
And he shouldn't expect rent. Cue his parents both texting me that they're going to sue me to pay the remainder of the lease entirely. I'm not worried about having an eviction on my record since the apartment is in his parents' names. When we first announced we were moving to his hometown, they rented an apartment for us right away so we could move right in. They've been renewing the lease each year. We had to pay his parents, and then they write a check to the landlord who has no idea who soon-to-be ex and I are, let alone that we live there.
Dude, I love how the parents set themselves. They're the ones that pushed the prenup. They're the ones that did this lease. They dug their own grave, and I love it.
The parents were like just completely set themselves up for maximum failure. Red flag, I know. I'm glad I had a few weeks to prep my leaving since they'd probably use the fact that it's their apartment to punt me out immediately. And by the way, I want to like drop back and pass you all the way over to a place where you can listen to full episodes with stories like this. And it's Spotify, it's iHeartRadio, it's Apple Podcasts, it's wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search OK Storytime and you will find what is now 49 consecutive days worth of stories to listen to your heart's content.
And that's a touchdown.
And that right there is a touchdown. In fact, I'm going to call that 2 touchdowns. And there's a little bit of story left here, so let's finish it off. Divorce is probably going to be a bumpy ride with this man-child and his psycho parents. Any advice from anyone who's been through it is welcome. And we have some comments from OP here. Commenter says, "Do you even have a contract at the place your soon-to-be ex is living? I don't think they have a basis for suing you. What does your lawyer say?" Yeah, and OP says, "Lawyer is confident. They don't have any legs to stand on. I haven't signed any type of lease and utilities are in their name too because they were afraid of having too many names connected to the apartment and the landlord finding out. So they are on the hook for everything that doesn't get paid. But hey, it was their choice and they're scheming. F around and find out."
Boom.
Boom.
Fafo.
And that FAFO is the end of that story.
Ooh,
They leave it on a good, nice little FAFO right there.
That's right. We love a good Fafo to end it off on.
That's true.
My husband keeps leaving us on Christmas Eve just to please his father.
No, he should stay with you for that.
I know it's only September, but we're already making plans for the holidays, and this is on my mind. For background, Christmas Eve has always been important to my family, more important than the day itself. We always had a huge get-together with extended family, and it was understood that that night was to be spent together as a family. My husband knows this as we've talked about it many times. We also typically spend Christmas with his parents at their home. By the way, this comes from someone. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments.
New theory, his dad's Santa.
He's like, babe, I'm
You
just
don't
so
understand.
busy. Christmas.
It's a weird time of year. My dad just gets really busy.
It's the family business
Yeah.
thing. The issue I have is that every year he and his family go to church. There are no quotes. I added that. On
you're
Christmas
Santa.
Eve. And spend several hours there, leaving our child and me alone. The in-laws' church isn't wheelchair accessible, and our son uses one. This has happened every year we've spent Christmas with them, probably a dozen times now. I've explained to my husband how sad it makes me to be left alone on the most important night of the holidays, and how frustrating it is to be left out. He says he understands, and he promised many times to stay with us and let his parents go by themselves. FYI, he's an atheist, and it's not a religious issue for him. He says he just likes the music. To be fair,
Okay.
music kind of slaps on a Christmas Eve mass.
I have no idea, but I feel like we could play that at home.
You
can't find the music online?
Nah, it's something about being this is all I'll give him. I am no longer religious after having gone through 18 years of Catholic school. However, I love going to a Christmas Eve mass. It's great.
Could we not find a church that's wheelchair accessible and then just go as a family?
See,
though?
I don't support him in,
then you still get your
leaving his
music.
family, but I understand the love of the music because it's kind of like going to a concert. Yeah.
For reference, I've never been to church.
Gotta go to a Christmas Eve mass.
I'm good.
The first year he made this promise, he reneged right before they were supposed to leave, saying he wanted to go. In the moment, I was too upset to say anything. My fault. So he went. When we were on our way home on Boxing Day, I tried to explain why I was so angry about him breaking his promise, and he seemed confused. Apparently, my not insisting he stay meant it wasn't actually that important to me. We talked about it, and he promised it wouldn't happen again. Another year, his father announced that he wanted everyone who could come to church. Our son could not go, and either my husband or I had to stay with him, so it was obvious what he meant. I reminded my husband of his promise, and he agreed to stay with us. As his parents were getting ready to leave, his father asked why he wasn't ready, and my husband said he'd be staying with me. His father had a tantrum. Instead of telling the truth, that it wasn't fair our son and I were being left behind and that I asked him to stay, my husband said we were cooking, and if they wanted dinner ready, we needed to cook. Did I mention I always make dinner? Well, his father lost it, full-on toddler style, foot stamping and saying, "But I said I wanted." That is full-on toddler style. I cried, his mother cried, his father said my husband was ruining Christmas. This is your grandfather. I mean, sorry, not your grandfather. Your father-in-law is behaving like a child.
Right. Your child is
He's like-
handling this better than your father-in-law.
Yeah, he's literally going, I just want to
It's just Christmas.
It's Christmas. Yeah. Or he's Santa.
And they're actually going to the North Pole, which should be wheelchair accessible.
It should be. Come on, Santa.
Do better.
I should have put my foot down, but at that point, I was too sad to fight. So we went, and yet again, our son and I spent Christmas Eve alone. Last year, my in-laws were away, and we spent the holiday at home. It was bliss. For the first time in years, we were actually together on Christmas Eve.
He didn't miss his little Christmas song.
Yeah. But the holidays are coming again, and this year we're spending it with them again. Now, there's one major change this year. We're celebrating at our house, not theirs.
Okay.
I fully expect my father-in-law will insist on attending church here, and I have zero interest in going, even if we can find one our son can attend. I've done some research, and the local church of my in-laws' denomination asks that disruptive children stay in a separate area, meaning our son and I would still be on our own, just in the same building as my husband. Why? I don't think that I mean, my assumption
I'm assuming
there is
there's going to be a little bit like maybe something where he's like talking. The whole
Yeah,
time kind of
yeah.
thing.
Well, in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I would like is for us to tell my in-laws that, of course, they're welcome to attend church, but we, my husband, son, and I, are staying home. But I know my father-in-law will have a fit, and even if my husband promises to stay with us, he'll probably cave under his father's pressure. How would you handle this? And there are some comments, but what do you do?
I mean, is there any compromise of like if we do go to the church, husband also has to stay in the other room with me and kid?
Yeah, but maybe
I
the
feel like he's
same-
not gonna. I feel like it's
Well, I
gonna
think
be
it's
the same
the
problem.
same deal of the dad
Yeah.
being like, but I want to sit next to you. It's not fair.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, whole family goes into that other room then.
Yeah, and then he's like, but I want to listen to music so we have in the church that I went to growing
Yeah.
up. You have basically it's like a big church.
Yeah.
And then the altar area, and then right over here is like a little enclosed room with a glass
Yeah.
thing and speakers,
Yeah.
and that's where all like the kids
Yeah,
and
I've
stuff
seen
go.
I've seen some
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, and so I'm assuming it's something like that.
Yeah.
In which case, you still have a good view, but it seems like OP, rightfully so, doesn't want to go at all.
Right. Which is
So-
totally fair.
Yeah, so I think the issue here is how do I get my husband to listen to me? And that is
Yeah.
tricky because you've expressed your feelings and he still doesn't.
I don't
Listen.
like that he's not listening. I don't like that your in-laws are seemingly so inconsiderate of your son's disabilities and like
Yeah.
just leaving him behind with like no second thoughts.
No, absolutely. I think your husband is being very cowardly, and I think you need to have a conversation about his ability to stand up to his parents.
Yeah.
Comments. Comment 1. What the F? He and his family are all fine with abandoning his son and their grandson on Christmas Eve? As if his son is not aware he is left out and not even an afterthought? Talk about Christmas spirit. Comment 2 says, so your father-in-law was cool with going away for Christmas last year when he wanted to, but expects his son to cater to his needs when he's around? I would be like, sorry, you ruined Christmas last year when you went away and didn't consider being with your family. So this year, we're staying in since I'm hosting. Feel free to go to church. I mean, obviously, you're not sorry he went away last year, but he doesn't need to know that. Your husband really needs to step up to his dad. Comment 3 says, go visit your family for Christmas Eve and leave him to his own devices. Reply says, if it's so important, why hasn't she gone to her family on her own? Definitely need some info on that. Either way, if the in-laws purposefully and continuously exclude OP's handicapped child, why would she want to spend any time with them? Skip Christmas too. What a doormat. Her kid is going to resent that whole family. OP says, I'm not in contact with any of my own family. That's a whole other post. And thankfully, as odd as this will sound, our kid is special needs, and that means they aren't aware of being excluded. And there is an update, and let's get into that.
Okay.
Well, I talked to my husband, and it didn't go very well. Well, it just doesn't seem like it has ever gone very well.
Right.
You've brought this up so many times, and there's been no change. Shocker, right? But as a bunch of people suggested, I wanted to get in front of this before it became a problem. I've gone back and reread the update, and it sounds like something out of a bad soap opera. I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. So I brought up the holidays and that his parents would be here on Christmas Eve. I said that while of course his parents were welcome to attend church, I would like us to be here, aka home, together. I reminded him how important the night is to me and how being left behind while everyone else goes to church makes me feel pretty clear, I thought. He said that if his parents came, apparently it's not a given, which surprised me, it would only be for a few hours, so it shouldn't be an issue. I was relieved, but then he kept talking. He said, besides, it's not like that happens a lot. I just stared at him. Can we say shocked? He asked why I was looking at him that way. And I said there were many Christmas Eves where our son and I were alone. That it had happened 2 years ago. Last year, his parents were away. The response I got, no, it didn't. I lost my crap. I thanked him so much for invalidating my feelings. Passive aggressive, yes, but I was pissed. No, I didn't. I just stared at him again. And he must have realized how angry I was because he backtracked and asked what I meant. I told him that when I tell him I feel a certain way, alone, abandoned, unimportant, and he tells me the situation didn't happen, that invalidates my feelings. His mouth got kind of tight and he didn't say anything. So I reminded him of his father's tantrum and how he, my husband, had chosen to tell his father we were making dinner. And when his dad flipped out, my husband ended up going anyway, despite having promised he wouldn't. Then I said I wished in the moment I asked my father-in-law if he'd abandon my mother-in-law on Christmas Eve, so that when he said, of course not, I could ask him why, in that case, it was okay for his son to do it to me. That was a suggestion here, and I totally stole it. That seemed to hit my husband hard. It's like he hadn't thought of it that way. He mumbled that in retrospect, it was easy to think of the right thing to say. Ironic, no? So I said that this year things needed to be different and that it was our house, our rules. He just sulked and said he didn't even know if his parents were coming. It's probably a non-issue. Soap opera, right? I feel like I'm talking to an emotionally illiterate child. How could he possibly be this clueless? Does he think my memory is going? That he can rewrite the past because it makes him uncomfortable? It made me very, very angry. But I didn't back down. So was the situation resolved? No. Was it satisfying? Heck yeah. Do I expect to have this conversation again? Yep, more than once, but I'm not gonna cave. You guys have helped me with that. And you guys can help us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but this feels so unhealthy.
So bad.
So bad. Like, OP's like sitting here being like, I'm not caving.
Right.
And I'm gonna win. And her husband's like, I don't even remember. I'm choosing to completely wipe the memory of me betraying
and
you.
I'm not even going to listen to what you say your feelings are because I don't think they happened.
This is bad. This is really bad. And also, even if your, son has special needs, like when it gets to a certain point.
I hated that comment about like, well, he really doesn't know.
Like,
one, there's no way of knowing if he knows or not, if
that.
he can't express that. And two, like, other people know. So, like, why are we just being okay with it happening still?
Yeah.
Because that got to me. I didn't like that comment.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, OP knows her child more, but I do think that there's
For
a certain
sure.
level of, like, anger and...
I'm sure that he
that
at least picks up on how mad his mom is,
Yeah.
and that can rub off onto his emotions and his feelings and stuff.
Yes, I would think. But either way, this isn't healthy, and I think you need a professional to step in and mediate here.
I'm a little sad because I thought that maybe this was last Christmas and we'd have a response, but I'm fearing that maybe it's for this Christmas.
I think you're right. If his parents come and they go to church and he starts to waver, I'm going to throw the biggest hissy fit they've ever seen.
Good.
I will call his father on his behavior. I'll remind them that they had their chance to celebrate with their kids the way they wanted, and now it's our turn. Another suggestion from here. I'll tell my husband loudly that he promised not to do this again and that he was breaking that promise again, and I'll do it in front of his parents. I'm not going to threaten to leave him, despite what some people suggest, because he's a good man and we love each other. He's just got blinders on about this. For whatever reason, Christmas Eve is just a weak point for him, but I'm not letting this go. So thanks, Reddit, for helping me with my spine. Man. I do think that, like, OP is absolutely in the right for how she is feeling. I just don't think that the way that you're going about it is going to be the most effective. But that is the end of that story, and we ruined my mother-in-law's Christmas because we didn't spend it with her. Sounds like the first mother.
Tis.
Long story short, am I the a-hole if I stay at home at Christmas instead of spending it with my in-laws? Me, 29 female, and my fiance, 31 male, bought a small farm about a year ago so I could realize my dream of having my own sales and training stable for horses.
That's so cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
We spend Christmas one year with my family and the next with my fiance's family, and therefore discuss this Christmas with my in-laws the first week in our new home. By the way, this comes from OK Lettuce 4512 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So we agreed to host everyone at our place since we had the most space. And because we expected to have horses on the property by the summer,
That's so fun.
I couldn't really go anywhere anyway. The horses needed to be fed 3 times a day. They needed time outside in the paddocks. The stall needed to be clean, etc. As we had hoped and planned, the first horses arrived in August. Then my fiance's grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer for a second time. In October, and my mother-in-law, in a state of panic, booked a vacation home 4 hours away from where we live for a whole week, non-refundable, without speaking to anyone before doing so. I had been looking forward to spending Christmas at home, going for a sleigh ride with the kids. I'm going on a sleigh ride. Putting out snacks for the elf living in the barn, and not having to travel anywhere with a screaming 2-year-old who hates car rides after the worst year of my life.
And did the family, they agreed to come to OP's farm? Or that was just what OP was thinking?
OP was thinking, we agreed to host everyone, at their place. And then we find out that the mother-in-law booked a vacation home 4 hours away. It started in March when my dad was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, which had spread to both lungs.
Ugh.
He refused chemotherapy as it would only give him a couple of extra weeks, and he would be sick from the treatment. Then my maternal grandmother passed away in May. My dad passed away in June.
No.
Only 3 weeks after my grandmother. And then my paternal grandfather passed away in September.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is so sad.
They all lived in my home country, Norway. And as I live in Denmark, this has meant a lot of traveling for me and my 2-year-old daughter. I would really like to just stay at home this Christmas. And I have the added responsibility of those horses boarded at our property. I will not compromise on animal welfare because of a holiday. I even told my fiance that he could go with our daughter. Even though it broke my heart thinking about not being with them, I knew how much it means to his family that they're there. He, however, said that either we all go or none of us goes. He did not want me to be alone for Christmas. As fate would have it, a child in my daughter's daycare got chickenpox last week. She could have been contagious for a couple of days before the symptoms started, so there's a fair chance my daughter is getting it too. Why don't they have the chickenpox vaccine? What's going on there? And with the 10 to 14 days incubation period, it fits perfectly with a Christmas outbreak. I told my mother-in-law about it, hoping she would say we should stay home, thinking about the other kids, and of course my fiance's grandmother, who is in active chemotherapy. She actually has to rush home on the 25th because she's having treatment that day. She lives 20 minutes away from us, so it's a ridiculous trip for her as well. I told mother-in-law that if our daughter gets really sick, we are not going. She did not like that. So what do we do? Stay at home, ruining possibly the last Christmas my fiance's family is having with his grandmother, but keeping a clean conscience about the horses and my car-hating toddler. Or do we feed the horses and put them in their stalls way too early, and even then arrive late for Christmas dinner with a tired and possibly sick toddler, opening a few presents and going to bed where I won't be able to sleep, knowing there's no one at our property in case of an emergency with the horses. Then we'll have to haul butt at the crack of dawn to go home, again with a screaming toddler, still arrive late for the horses' breakfast, and eventually just crash out from exhaustion on the couch. I have never in my life hoped my daughter gets sick, but now I kind of do. She has to get it eventually anyway, and there is an update.
I have some questions real quick.
Yes.
Can you get a horse sitter? Is that a possibility?
That's what I was wondering.
So when you have horses, you could just never leave your property?
Yeah, I'm assuming that. I mean, usually you have, I don't know. I don't know too much about like what it goes into having horses, but I assume that usually you have multiple hands and stuff that you would want, at least if you ever need to, like in an emergency, leave the property or something, or go with your, And it seems like you have maybe they don't have that much time, but it seems like you maybe have like a week or two advance notice. But I think the problem is it just seems like a lot of effort in general. Like you have to get a sitter, you have to, your kid's sick, there's driving involved, so it seems like that. We told my fiance's family that we are staying at home.
Okay.
Everyone was understanding, and the grandparents were happy we thought about their health. That's good.
Yeah.
Except mother-in-law. It's always her. She made it very clear how sad and disappointed it made her that her son and granddaughter are staying home with me. She will have other grandchildren there. He told her over the phone as they already arrived at the vacation home, and I don't think she knew she was on speaker when she told my fiance that she hoped he wasn't compromising and doing something he really didn't want to do. She completely disregarded the stuff about her parents' and grandparents' health and was just annoyed we couldn't just get someone to watch the dang horses. And there are some comments. So comment 1 says, please quit trying to please your in-laws. You think they give one hoot about your care and comfort? You have a family and home. Start your own traditions. OP says, apparently they don't, and they don't understand the whole horse thing. My mother-in-law hates them and can't understand why I want to work with them. I tried to start a new tradition where everyone could stay at our place, but that went down the drain because my mother-in-law single-handedly decided we should do something else this year. And comment 2 says, I would tell mother-in-law sorry, but it was organized for the Christmas gathering being held at your residence. Her changing things around last minute is not your problem. You will be staying at home. If grandma is home after her treatment, you can invite her over later. Mother-in-law is being very disrespectful to change plans and then get upset when things don't go as she planned. Horses have the amazing ability to do dumb things and get hurt. If you're responsible for them, you have to look after them. And OP replies, exactly. And on top of that, they have an amazing ability to do things like that at the most inconvenient time. Wouldn't surprise me if we got home to one horse rolled stuck in its stall, one with colic, and the fence for the horses in the loose housing would probably be on the ground. In my last post, I wondered if I would be the a-hole if we stayed at home during Christmas because of logistical issues with the horses in my care, the long drive, and the potential of passing on a virus to the great-grandmother in active chemotherapy. We stayed at home and ruined my mother-in-law's Christmas. We told her Sunday that we would stay at home. She had her other son, her daughter, and son-in-law with their 2 young children. Her parents, which wholeheartedly supported us staying home so we wouldn't pass anything on to them. My father-in-law's sister and her daughter, and some family members from my brother-in-law's side. So she wasn't exactly alone. We call them on FaceTime on Christmas, and my mother-in-law made a point of not having the time to speak to us because she needed to be there with the grandkids who were actually there. They were together for an entire week, except for a dry text message on Christmas saying, thanks for the gift. We haven't heard from them since. I usually speak to my mother-in-law every day, sending pictures and videos of our daughter.
Every day.
Whew. And she's acting like this?
Yeah.
She hasn't answered once since we told her we were staying home. It kind of feels like she's punishing us for not being there. And we kind of feel left out of the family for the holiday. We have reached out several times a day, both in the family group chat and to my mother-in-law alone. Radio silence. They have not done anything to make us feel included. We didn't even get a Merry Christmas. Dang. What the heck? Come on, get over it. It's Christmas. Be nice.
I understand being upset.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair, but I understand, it was possibly the last Christmas. You wanted your family there. You're upset that they couldn't come.
Yeah.
But
like the grandparents are fine with it. So
yes.
it's like, why are you the one getting upset for them?
Yeah. So I understand being upset, but have a little understanding for your family, especially when you change the plans last minute.
It's like, it's not like they just don't want to come. There are logistical issues here, and their kid might be sick.
Yeah.
Might have a disease.
Yeah. And it seems like OP and her husband are doing what they can.
Yeah.
They're texting. They tried to FaceTime. They're reaching out. The mother-in-law is not responding. Maybe the mother-in-law just needs to cool down, and it's all going to sort itself out. But it's, it seems like OP and her husband did everything they can at this point.
Agreed. After the 25th, I stopped reaching out. By the way, you can reach out to us by listening to full episodes with stories like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. My fiance also got a severe tooth infection. Oh my God, it's hit after hit.
You guys are cursed.
Yeah.
Series of unfortunate events.
Truly.
Dang.
Which needed a visit to the dentist Sunday, a call to the ER on Christmas Eve, and another visit to the dentist on the 26th. What cursed object did you pick up from a temple?
They got the evil eye.
Chickenpox. Chickenpox. And our daughter is now sick with a mild case. We had a really nice Christmas at home and are now really happy we didn't go.
Oh, great.
but still a little hurt because of mother-in-law's reaction.
Sure.
I have loved her for almost 10 years and been closer to her than with my own mother. And there are some relevant comments to finish us off. Comment 1 says she's using the silent treatment to make you beg for her attention. Ignore it. When she decides to pretend it didn't happen, you can decide if you want a relationship with her. OP says, I haven't texted her today or yesterday. My fiance tried today but got no answer as well. I have loved the woman for almost 10 years and been closer to her than with my own mother, so this stings a bit. Comment 2 says, stop chasing her. Be glad you found out who she was before your daughter got really attached.
Chill.
Okay, we
Let's
don't
slow
need
down
yeah.
here.
She's pissy. She'll be fine. Like, you don't have to necessarily be like, she's my favorite person, but you'll probably, I feel like everyone will get over it.
What I continuously am frustrated with comments on Reddit is there's no room for any ruptures in relationships.
Mm-mm.
Terrible relationships. I think secure, strong relationships allow space for ruptures and repair. That
I mean, she
that is
said
what
she was closer to
happens
her than
in
her own mother.
relationships. And so
Yeah.
there's a rupture. It happens in relationships. She's gonna calm down. You guys are probably gonna take it, talk it out. You had a great relationship for 10 years.
This is
you don't
not
have to jump ahead and
yeah.
be like, the relationship is over.
No, I think this is her being a little baby, and she's gotta get over it. Yeah.
Just wait it out. I
Just wait it
agree. You don't need to keep texting her.
No.
Give her space, and you guys
She'll
will
come
come back, and you could have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
My sister kept ignoring me for her boyfriend.
Stop ignoring me.
First off, my 23 female sister, Danielle, 29 female, we'll call her, basically raised me. Our mother has mental health issues, so growing up, it was just the two of us. There's obviously a big age difference. She's always been the mature one who I can turn to, and etc. Learn my morals from her. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Christmas, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And secondly, she started a new job a while back and loved it. I was happy for her because she hated her last place, and she seemed to make genuine friends with her new coworkers. But then she started going out weekly, then almost daily, and I missed her. She kept coming back wasted at 7 a.m. and then going to work at 10 a.m. and insisting it was fine because she never had a hangover. The best way to beat a hangover the best way to beat a hangover is to keep drinking.
That's what they say.
That's right.
Never had to do that.
What I've heard. Obviously, it was Christmas right now. We don't really practice religion, but we still celebrate it for the family. Get together, watch movies, etc. Danielle was off for the first time in 5 years. She didn't work Christmas Eve or Boxing Day.
Ooh, British.
And I was
or
so
Australian.
excited. Literally the first time since I was a teenager that I'd be able to spend the entire holiday period with her.
Aw, Opie just wanted to hang out with her. This is me with Sam.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to hang out with you.
Aw, it's so
you're
sweet and nice, right? Only no.
No.
First, she says her and her friends might be going out on Boxing Day.
What the
But-
heck?
Only for a bit. Then that's going all day Christmas Eve. I was disappointed, but figured at least we'd had Boxing Day together. Then she gets back on the 24th. She's not only drops that she's still going out all day on the 26th,
And that's Boxing Day. The Boxing Day is a day after Christmas.
but that she's dating a 21-year-old who she met through work.
How old is she?
29.
Ooh.
Nah, it's totally fine.
Can be. It can be fine.
Sophia
It's
is ageist, everyone.
I'm not ageist. I just think that you gotta be a little bit more careful when when you're that young and there's an age gap. I think it can work out completely fine. Just gotta keep your eyes open.
She's ageist, everyone.
Okay, well, Riley apparently doesn't care about young people. He hates them.
I think young people over the age of 18 can make decisions for themselves.
Riley, this is like totally opposite of everything we've ever talked about. This is completely new thought. And he's doing it just because he wants to disagree with me. That's literally why he's doing it.
Just making a point here.
That you don't even agree with.
I don't want to open up an age gap debate, but I do
Apparently Riley
personally
does.
find it gross. Not just because of the sheer age gap, but for a few other reasons. One, they seem to have bonded by her getting blackout wasted constantly, working while still wasted, and finding it cool. Two, he's the brother of one of her coworkers who they're lying to and pretending it's just casual. And three, if I ever dated a 31-year-old, she unalived me. Heck, she regularly mocks me for finding Colin Firth hot.
Colin Firth.
that guy. But somehow, this is fine.
Colin Firth is hot. We were just talking about him in another episode.
Just hypocritical of me. I have no idea who that is.
Colin Firth.
He's the guy that did that one movie. Remember that?
Here,
No.
I'm going to show you a picture of Colin Firth while you read.
Okay.
You'll know him. Or
Is
you
he
should know
British?
him.
No need.
This is Colin Firth.
Also, he seems to be paying for everything. He even got her Christmas presents, and he's done nothing in return. That guy,
Yes. Colin Firth.
he was in that movie.
He was in Bridget Jones.
Oh, that is the most British man ever.
He's a very British man.
Yep, that's that you look up British man and that's him. Him and
Mhm.
Hugh Grant right beside of each other. Oh man. She didn't get him any gifts in return. Again, if I had a partner treat me like that, he'd be incredibly angry. But anyway, she gets back on the 26th, tries to talk to me about how they kissed. And today she goes to work, comes back ill, and announces she has half an hour to get ready because they're going out this evening. Then she was surprised when I didn't want to hug her. I don't mind her dating, frankly. It would be weird if I did. I do mind how she's basically ignored me and our entire family and her other friends for this boy. I mean, she's clearly ill, could be the vid, but she's still going out, which this behavior she'd critique in anyone else. When she worked retail, she hated anyone who went out on the 24th or 26th, as they were the reason she had to work and not be with us. But it's okay for her to go out on those days? I'm sorry for the long ramble. I don't even know if anyone will read this or if I'm in the right to be upset with her at all. It's like I don't know her anymore. Before this, I would have said she was more than my sister. She was my best friend and parental figure who I admired more than anyone else. Literally, as I was typing this, she came to inform me that she'd be out tomorrow and Friday as well. But I'd have the chance to spend time with her on Thursday if he didn't ask her out again. What do? I suffer from anxiety, depression, and I don't know. I've tried asking her to stay home more, but she just says she has someone else now, so I need to learn to share, which felt dismissive. I want her to be happy, but I just miss her. And I don't know how to respond to her new behavior. I don't know. Any help would be appreciative. We have an update. Sophia, what are your thoughts about her new behavior?
Okay, well, it's definitely weird. She's going out when she's sick. It feels like she's doing a lot of things.
Of course, you bring that up first.
Well, yeah. I mean, if that's something that she would critique in others and saying like, oh, I can't believe people would go out when they're sick and try and like get other people sick. If like that's something that she cares about. If something else she cares about is OP dating older men and that's something that she's critiqued. And now it feels very conflicting to her or contradictory to her behavior that OP's witnessed before. And then also I think it's totally fair that you want to hang out with your sister over a holiday and we're expecting that and then don't get to hang out with her at all. So I do think that she is reacting or is acting really differently. And I think that you can bring that up and say, hey, like I've noticed, like you're behaving a little bit differently than I've, grown to know, like who I have grown to know you as, the person that I have this view of. And I just wanted to talk about it and make sure you're feeling okay. And also tell you that I miss you and I want to hang out with you.
And it's weird that she didn't seem to get blackout drunk all the time, but now she's doing that and going to work 3 hours later.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what's going on in her life that's caused this change? Because I think you can get curious first. Don't come to it with like a judgment, like this is weird, you're weird. But come to it with like, I miss you and I love you and I'm worried about you. Yeah.
We have an update. Hi, so it's been a while. I completely forgot about the original post till now. And I figured, well, I like reading updates, so I might as well give one for this. The original post didn't get much attention, but the responses I got helped me a lot, and I relied on that advice a lot last year. So, what's happened since? Well, after Christmas, I followed everyone's advice and did my own thing. Tried to make new friends. It went horribly, like it was bad, and my sister would say that she's there for me, but she never actually would be home. She's been out drinking or sleeping at her boyfriend's parents' house or partying, etc., and it hasn't stopped to this day. Around 3 or 4 months after Christmas, being vague for reasons, it was our mother's 50th birthday. Danielle promised to take care of it and went AWOL on the day of. I had to
Absent without official leave is what it stands for.
Went AWOL.
I didn't know what it stood for. I just knew it was an acronym.
I had to handle everything with my distraught mother. Our extended family was going what the F and trying to get into contact with my sister who could have been passed away in a ditch for all we knew. Luckily, she actually just got so hammered the night before that she forgot. She woke up at 3 p.m. to missed calls, texts, and rocked up at home where she was still living at the time, still wasted. She hadn't wrapped any of my mom's gifts or written her a card, despite repeatedly telling me not to worry about it. She refused to accept any blame or guilt over her behavior, and I had to fix everything. Mom and the rest of the family haven't forgiven her till this day. I haven't either. I get dreading family events, but showing up wasted at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for an event you volunteered to organize and saying it's okay because it's just family, it's not nice. Like, she's still living at home at that time, but a few weeks later, she announced that she was moving in with her boyfriend's parents for independence. I helped her pack. First, I felt awful, but never lived apart from her. And then she moved out, and the whole house has never been better.
Dang, I really am worried about this girl, though. I'm really worried about her. What's going on?
She's not, yeah. I cleaned up her old room and took it for myself. It's bigger. I cleaned up so many vapes and bottles and mildly moldy half-eaten food.
Ew.
She was clearly unwell, I reckon, but hiding it. I struggled a bit with the bills, but I'm comfortable now. We're renovating rooms that my sister always refused us on, and more recently, we adopted a dog.
Oh.
He's the best boy ever and brings me his ball when he gets excited. My job is going well too. I got a promotion and my coworkers have really banded around me. Mom is honestly doing better than ever. She's on the right meds and therapy. She F's up, she owns it, and works on ensuring it doesn't happen again. My sister got fired from her last job. Turned up wasted too many times.
Oh, something's going wrong. Oh.
She got a new one more recently with half the hours, which she prefers, and I can't exactly blame her for that. Working less is always fun.
I'm so concerned for this girl. I'm genuinely so scared for her. Like, please look into this, because this is not normal.
Doesn't sound
Especially
good
if there's
at all.
just been a huge change, like a huge shift in her life. Like, OP even said, yeah, it seems like she was unwell but hiding it. And then it was like, anyway, like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Someone check in, please.
Yeah. She still lives with his parents. Stayed over a few times. She's my sister, you know. I'm not turning my back on her, but outside of that, we don't see each other that much. She visits maybe once every other month. I'm aware this update may come off one-sided, like, yay, everything's better without her. And it's not that. It's she hates change. So we could never solve anything in the house because she was tired and didn't want to. I couldn't see the point in it. She and Mom would argue constantly, and I'd hate Mom for it. My sister was the only person I had. And then she left. And after the story, we would like if you leave and go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. And we have so many stories, so we will never leave you alone. Just press play. And we literally can't leave you alone for 65 days straight. We can't.
Actual Drop Bear says she's catching up on her early 20s that she missed having to raise OP. And then Saren Simone says if she was parentified as a kid, she's now rebelling. It's a normal thing that happens. She will have to get to the other side of this. Therapy will help.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's just like I think that's true, but I think like when you get to the level of like moldy food in the room and drinking in the morning and drinking at work, it's like this is a problem.
Yeah, seriously, a huge problem.
Huge problem.
If she had suddenly done this, conspiracy theory, boyfriend's parents drink too.
I just think that she's not around good influences right now. Concerning.
Back to the story. I realized I was the only person she...
You're not having the parties like, oh, this girl's having.
No, I don't even drink.
Yikes. So, OP continues. I realized I was the only person she had because she wanted it that way. Me and Mom are closer now. No more arguing or screaming. I've reconnected with college friends my sister insisted I didn't need. I eat healthier and exercise. So yeah, I don't know. Life is way better now for us. Hope it is for her too, but I also hope she never comes back. As much as I miss her and our idiotic jokes, I don't think she was a very good sister. Thanks again. It's such a sad realization to have.
Oh, but I also think she's just like changed a lot.
Yeah.
I think she's gone through. This is really sad.
This
I
is
really
sad.
want them to like hash it out and come back to each other later when she's, turned her life around or something.
Yeah.
Ouch. 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 Ouch.
She
This is
definitely needs good
sad.
influences in her life. Ugh. Yikes. But that, guys, that's the end of that story. We got another one coming right up. I'm going to get this lined up for everyone.
My sister-in-law blamed me for ruining Christmas over my gifts.
Was your gift really bad?
And by the way, this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. One of our own. So last Christmas was a bit of a crap show. Usually the family would do one gift per person. Everybody would get something funny or practical because it was all adults. I like bow ties and socks, and people would get me some of the most unique bow ties I've ever seen. But ever since my brother had kids, the standard became kids get lots of stuff, adults get one thing, which is fine. By the way, this comes from Kohaku24, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
And OP says, so a few months before December, I went to my niece and nephew and asked them what they wanted. My nephew wanted a few games from his Steam wish list, which I thought was super easy. My niece really wanted a baby doll, specifically a black baby doll. Here's the context. She is very, very light-skinned, and she wanted a black baby doll because she wanted one that looked like her dad.
Aww.
That's super cute. She doesn't understand why she didn't look as brown as her daddy. Let me tell you, I have never ugly cried as hard or as much after I had that conversation with that little girl in my life. She was dang sure going to get that doll. A few weeks before Christmas, I started looking for this doll. I went to 6 different stores to find the right one. Yes, I could have gone to Amazon, but I wanted to pick it up personally.
Aww.
So sweet. The last store had the perfect doll with accessories. I took it to an actual baby store and asked them what clothes would fit it, and then bought her a bunch of baby clothes so she could dress the doll in outfits that actually fit. My entire thought was to give her as much baby stuff to go with the baby doll as I could afford. My original budget was about $500 between the two kids, but I went over very quickly. I work in tech, so it wasn't hurting me to spend a bit extra. There's no dollar limit for the kids, but for the grown-ups, we try to stay under $100. As Christmas drew closer, I started thinking about what I was getting for my nephew. After spending so much on my niece, I thought it would only be appropriate to try to match that amount. I knew my nephew's computer was about 5 years old, so I thought the quickest way to match what I spent would be to build him a new PC from scratch, so I did just that. I shipped the gifts to my mother's house because that's where we decided to do Christmas. I flew out a few days before Christmas Eve, got a hotel, and saw some old friends who never left home, then went over to Mom's for Christmas Eve dinner and to spend the night. As an adult, it's super uncomfortable to sleep in my old room, but Mom doesn't like it when we don't spend the night at the house, so Christmas Eve, we just give in to her. My sister-in-law and my brother arrived with the kids. They walked in, saw the tree, and went bananas seeing all the stuff. I told them that a good portion of it was for them. I had this elaborate idea to do a Santa Claus thing, but my sister-in-law said that they don't want to do Santa Claus. She doesn't believe that people should be telling their children about Santa Claus as if he's a real person in this day and age.
Well, he is a real person, to be clear.
Yeah, I don't really know why you wouldn't tell your kids about Santa Claus when
Well, just historically, he is a real person.
Oh.
like not
Saint
even
Nick.
he's a real person. No, he literally is a real person.
Yeah.
He's
He
based
actually?
off a historical figure. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's just
Saint
like
Nicholas.
Saint Nick. Oh yeah. But
Yeah.
Santa Claus but
Is
I
a real
mean,
person.
I don't know. I still believe
Yeah.
where are the presents coming from then? How are you going to explain to them where the presents are? Where are you going to make it up? Were you going to steal that credit for yourself? You can't do that. Santa
Can't
Claus
do
did that.
Santa Claus got those presents.
So this is where things start to go south. My brother was super nice and gave me the world's biggest hug, asking if I wanted to wait till Mom went to sleep and smoke some devil's lettuce in the backyard underneath this big old tree like we did when we were teenagers. Of course, I said yes. He asked me if I got him anything cool, and I told him I hoped he'd think what I got him was cool. Not far behind was my sister-in-law. She gave me a hug and asked me who all the presents were for. I told her that 99% of it was for her kids. She got this really sour look and told me that she thought Christmas was going to be small and how I was doing this to undermine them as parents. I told her that I had no idea what she was talking about. She then went on in a hushed, hissy tone, suggesting that maybe I would have understood what she was talking about if I had asked them what to get the kids instead of asking the kids directly and then spending all this money spoiling them. I'll give it to her. Maybe I should have talked to them first.
No.
I told her that I was sorry that I wasn't trying to undermine them. I said that next year I'd ask them both about gifts and the budget that they wanted for their kids. For their birthdays, nothing super elaborate. I'd just get them gift cards or something small. She was still pissy, told me the damage was already done, and stormed off. Christmas Eve dinner was nothing but her giving me the side eye, evil looks, and making snide comments about child-free people and how flaunting our wealth over people with children is inappropriate and uncalled for.
You're the worst.
She's just
lady.
jealous.
She's jealous.
She's
She's jealous of your money and that
Yeah.
you can provide for her kids and I guess the way she wants to. But like,
Yeah,
that's not what it is about at all. You just wanted to
No.
give them gifts.
exactly. I tried to ignore it. She was upset and deep in her feelings, and it's my mom's house. I don't want to make this any worse or cause a scene in my mother's house on Christmas Eve. So I decided to shut up, take it, deal with her for the next few hours that we had to be together, and then she could take that stank attitude home and let my brother deal with it. Everyone went to bed. My brother and I snuck out back, smoked a joint, talked about how a mom would unalive us if she knew, snuck back into the house, and put my nephew's computer together. After getting everything installed, we figured that the kids were going to be up in a few hours with all the stuff to open, so we both went to get a few hours of shut-eye. Getting woken up at 6 a.m. by the sound of screaming, running children only reaffirmed my decision to never have children. Nevertheless, hearing them running down the stairs screaming made me smile because I knew they would love their stuff. I got downstairs, made a cup of coffee, and then went to sit on the couch around the tree. People started handing out gifts, and the grown-ups opened their one or two things. I loved my new bow tie. My brother was longing for a Google Watch, so I got him one. My mother really wanted a new crock pot from Williams-Sonoma because Miss Vicky next door had one and it was so nice. My brother had asked me if I could get my sister-in-law an iPhone because he really couldn't afford it. He would get her something else, but this was something that she really wanted, so I got it for her. I got a nasty look and a thank you that felt more like a F you, and once again, a speech with the undertone that child-free people make too much money and maybe should contribute more to society instead of being child-free. Then it was the kids' turn. My nephew went bananas at the sight of his new computer, and even crazier when he learned that he had all the games on his wish list already installed on the machine. I got a big bear hug, a thank you, and my brother went off to help him get set up in his room so he could play for a while. I told my brother that I would pay to have it shipped back to his house when Christmas was over. And then, of course, my niece. She started unwrapping all the baby clothes, the stroller, and the accessories, but it wasn't until she got to the baby doll itself that I saw her face light up.
Aww.
She was losing it. I got the biggest hug, the biggest thank you, a million kisses on the cheek. She was just over the moon excited. I loved seeing her that happy. My sister-in-law apparently did. She locked eyes with me and asked my niece to come over to her because she wanted to see the baby doll. She asked her if she was okay with that baby doll or if she wanted one that looked more like her. Come on,
Shut up.
dude. I told my sister-in-law that this was the exact baby doll that she wanted and that she was super happy. My sister-in-law kept pushing and saying, well, you know, you really should have a baby doll that looks like you. All this while keeping eyes locked with me. My niece didn't waver for a second. She told her so many times that that was the baby doll that she wanted. She had even picked out a name for it. She was super happy. And I would be super happy if you decided to join us for full episodes with more stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime.
Joke's on you, sister-in-law.
Yeah, this is
Ha
what you wanted. Can't fool this baby.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, this is just so ridiculous because I understand, like, you know, maybe wanting to talk to the parents because, like, my sisters have been like, you know, they don't need any toys. Like, talking about, you know, my nieces and nephews, they don't need any more toys.
Yes.
Please don't. Like, the house is too full with that.
No, that is a super fair thing to
Right.
be like, oh, please.
Like,
stop
that's
doing
what
it.
it's about.
Mhm.
But that's clearly not what it's about in this
No,
situation.
it's about the money.
Yeah.
And it's about the sister-in-law feeling like she's being one-upped when it really has nothing to do with the sister.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, she's obviously just jealous that
So jealous.
OP has this money to spoil her kids, and, like, you know, that's fair to, like, want to be able to do that, but you can't because kids are so expensive.
Yeah.
And, you know, the economy and whatever. But, like, but if you're jealous and you think that people who don't have kids should contribute more, then you're literally reaping the benefits of that right now.
Literally.
Like, you are getting so much from this.
Yeah.
So they're not being selfish with their money and only like getting things for themselves. Like, come on.
Yeah, I bet like if OP wasn't spending money on the kids or wasn't spending that much money, she would complain about that too.
My sister-in-law got up, sat beside me, and in a tone everyone could hear, started to ask why I chose to get a baby doll that didn't look like my niece, why I was trying to push an agenda on her, why I felt the need to ruin her Christmas and force her to play with a baby doll that looks nothing like her. She said it was confusing her, then went on to talk about how I was spoiling her children, how I was not about family values, how if I would have children of my own, I could make decisions about gift giving, but this was ridiculous. No children should have this much spent on them, and next year I wouldn't be allowed to get them anything. Instead of waiting for things to escalate, I told my mom, my brother, and my niece and nephew to have a Merry Christmas. I went upstairs, got dressed, packed my things, and went back to the hotel. My phone blew up for the rest of the day. My mother was begging me to come back for Christmas dinner. My brother was saying that the kids really wanted to see me before I had to leave. I ignored them. I went to see Nosferatu and flew back home.
Heck yeah. Nice.
The next week, I called my brother and my mom to apologize, tell them that I love them both and that I hope to see them next year. Am I the a-hole for getting the kids something nice and then leaving to do my own thing to avoid a blow-up? And that's the end of that story, but what do you think?
You're not the a-hole, but I do think that you should tell your brother, because it seems like you have a good relationship with your brother.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So, have a frank discussion with him and say, hey, I tried to do something nice for your kids and your wife kind of went off on me in a really rude way that I don't appreciate at all. And I want to have a relationship with your kids. I love them, but can't do that if your wife's trying to interfere.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't think that you're the a-hole. I think you're totally fine and right to choose yourself and to avoid the drama and everything. But at the same time, this doesn't seem like the thing that will just kind of blow over.
No, it's like you can't just run away from this.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I see.
Exactly. Here. I think, I understand wanting to avoid things, but it's already started. Yeah. Everyone in the family is kind of involved. So, yeah, you should just kind of deal with it as it comes up right now and just explain yourself and apologize and ask the brother if this is okay. If she was doing this in front of everyone, I'm sure that everyone else will understand how uncomfortable that is, and you will not be the bad guy in this situation.
Agreed.
So, yeah. But that is the end of that story.
My father berated me for having a panic attack because it's ruining Christmas.
Oh, I'm already going to be sad.
It's like, really sad. You broke your leg. You're ruining the
holidays.
My life. Hey everyone, I have been sitting on this for about a month and I've not spoken to my father over this and I want to see if I am the a-hole or not. Probably not.
Probably not.
To explain the background of the story before I start, I, 34 female, have a diagnosed anxiety disorder where I have severe anxiety and panic attacks. By the way, this comes from Charming Football 271, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I live in a northern state with my husband, 34 male, and 2 kids, 1 male and 7 female. My father and stepmom are retired nurses who live in a southern state, and my grandparents live in Florida. The plan was to spend a week in Florida and on our way home, stop at my dad's for a few days as the midway point to our house. For Christmas this year, we drove my new car from our state to Florida, and everything was exciting. We got to Florida a day ahead of schedule where for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, my dad and stepmom were going to come to my grandparents to spend Christmas with their grandkids. Since we got to Florida 2 days before Christmas Eve, we spent 1 day at the beach and had a wonderful time. On Christmas Eve morning, my husband decided to go to the store to get milk for our son before the stores closed early, and my car wouldn't start. It would not turn over or anything. I know a fair amount about cars from my stepdad, who taught me how to change my tires, oil, and replace easy parts like belts and plugs, so I figured the issue was either my starter or something electrical. I started to panic as I'm a teacher, and I started to mentally picture that I would be stuck in Florida and not be back for work, and I started to panic.
And that's serious. Getting stuck in Florida?
Yeah.
Who wants to get stuck in Florida?
Not want to be stuck there.
I apologize to anyone who's in Florida.
My husband and grandparents know when I had severe panic attacks, it's best to let me walk away and have space to clear my head and not force me to come back and engage until I'm mentally ready to do so. So I walked and sat at the lake and cried and had my panic attack. And not too long after getting there, my stepmom and dad showed up, and my stepmom was kind and told me she understood and to take my time. But dad, however, was not so kind.
You need to get your crib together and stop acting like this, gosh darn it.
Dad, I just need to pull myself together because this is causing a huge issue financially and even time-wise. Like, how are we going to get home as all shops are closed for the next 3 days?
Well, you need to go back on meds. Go talk to your therapist because this is not how we behave. Your husband has the car being towed to a shop who will look at it when they open. So we are going back to Grandma and Grandpa's house now since you are punishing your children and ruining the holiday.
How is that going to help? How is that going to help anyone? I don't argue and just go back since my husband has it covered, and since I was mentally exhausted, I just laid in my and my husband's room and fell asleep. The next morning was Christmas, and despite the unknown about what was wrong with my car, I sat there and enjoyed the holidays with my kids, watching them open presents from Santa and my grandparents. Prior to my dad coming to their house, I tried FaceTiming my mom to say Happy Christmas, but my mom told me that she and my stepdad were on their way to bury his mother.
What?
Who just fell into eternal sleep of cancer the day prior.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Wait,
and
so her grandma.
no, this is her stepdad. So both her mom and dad remarried. So this is her stepdad. And so she will FaceTime me later. Soon after, my dad and stepmom show up and the kids open gifts from them and we chat for a little. And even though I'm still high on my anxiety, where I am still super anxious and unable to truly be happy until I know what was wrong with my car, as well as how much it will cost me to fix it. Later that day, my grandparents' friends came over to do Christmas dinner and I was sitting in one part of the house watching and playing with the 1-year-old while my husband kept an eye on our 7-year-old. My grandparents' friends approached me, talked to me knowing what was going on, but they still gave me space, but still engaged me in conversation, understanding I was keeping my toddler from destroying my grandparents' house while they and my dad were cooking. The entire time I'm talking to anyone who approaches me, my dad and grandfather are outside cooking. Time passes and my dad comes in and out of the house, giving me side glances as he passes that I notice, but I ignore as I focus on my son who's running around.
Wait, so was it the stepdad or
No, the stepdad,
real father who
yeah, biological father.
was the one who yelled at her
Yes.
for having the panic
Yeah,
attack?
stepdad and mom are not there.
Okay.
I guess OP was just calling him.
Got it. Thank you.
My mom finally FaceTimes me and I sit with my kids on my lap as we talk to my mom and stepdad, and my dad is standing there in the doorway just staring at me. I continue to ignore him as we talk to my mom, who talks about the burial and what happened and then asks the kids about Christmas, etc. After the kids were done, my mom asked me if my anxiety is high today, as she can see it on my face. And I vented about my car and she told me that things will work out and offered different things we can do. My mom listened and it made me feel better. My entire call with my mom lasted no more than 10 minutes. And why am I getting the feeling that the dad is going to make a whole big fuss about this?
It turns out when we listen to people that are going through struggle,
It makes them feel better.
they make them feel better and they become
Makes
more
them
resilient.
feel better.
And they become more resilient.
And when we say, why are you having an anxiety attack?
Why are you
that
feeling your feelings?
Usually doesn't make them feel better.
It
Shocking.
usually makes it worse.
Christmas dinner comes, and when my anxiety is high, I can't eat or I get sick. So I focus on making sure my kids are fed and bathed, etc. After my grandparents' friends leave, my dad finally comes up to me and shakes his head as he looks at me.
You need to get your anxiety under control.
I'm sorry?
You need to get on your meds and get help, but this is not working. You know, you were so rude and ignored everyone.
I didn't reply as I felt an anxiety attack building because I thought I was talking to people and I thought I was not acting moody. I just got up and went into my room and my husband's room and I had my anxiety attack.
Poor OP.
I went
okay.
into full flight mode and wanted to leave. I cried to my husband that I wanted to call an Uber and have them bring me to an airport to fly home, as I cannot do anything right when I was watching my kids and still talking to people. But apparently I must have been living in some altered reality where it never happened. Though through the door while I was having my anxiety attack, I could hear my dad talking about me to my grandmother,
Oh, no.
who was not engaging in the conversation as well as in front of my 7-year-old.
I've seen this at the mental hospitals all the time when I was a nurse. It's all an act for attention. You know, she was all fine to talk to her mother, but not talk to anyone else. She is choosing who to talk to, and this is an act. She needs mental help, and it's going to harm her kids. They're going to be totally messed up because of her.
What? Shut up.
Shut up. I'm
No
the
one
one who
likes
said it.
you.
Shut up.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
shut up, Alex. Everyone say shut up, Alex.
Yes. I sat in our room crying while my husband went to deal with my dad, and I do not know the full conversation, but what my husband told me as a summary is that he told my dad that he should not have said that, but should have asked if I'm okay and not berate me. And my dad point blank told my husband that until I apologize to the people I wronged, I'm not welcome at his house. My stepmom stopped in our room before leaving and told me she sees how I feel and told me my dad doesn't mean what he says and let him cool down and he will see how he was wrong and he will call me in a few days, and told me not to reach out until he does, which I agreed. As when he used to get mad at my brother and I as kids, he would usually reach out 2 days later to talk it out. This man needs therapy.
Do you think he really would like come to his senses after 2 days?
Well, it seems
like he has very strong beliefs around like mental illness and like emotional responses. I wonder if those are just going to transform in 2 days and he's going to be like, oh, I was wrong.
I think either this is a common thing where he like just says whatever's on his mind and then he's like, well, probably made them
has
sad.
A little more empathy after.
Or this is a thing where he goes home and stepmom's like, how you can't say that to her, go apologize, and like berates him until he does.
I don't know if therapy will work. It seems like these are like deeply ingrained beliefs around emotions. His, not to like validate what he's doing, but I imagine maybe his emotions were extremely dismissed and rejected. And so when other people have a big emotional experience, I imagine it pisses him off.
Yeah, he's
because
like, I can't feel emotion, so no one can.
Yeah.
John, we're going to get back to the story, but I got to tell you, I've been loving these pearls that I got in Colombia.
You are a delicious beaded man now.
I do feel more confident at the very least, but I think these pearls pale in the amount of confidence an OK Storytime membership can get you.
That's right. You get 60 plus hours a month of exclusive live stream content. That's advice that'll make you the best version of yourself.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Crack open that oyster and get the blues. But let's get back to the story.
Fast forward to New Year's Eve. My car finally got fixed that day. Long story with the car, but I had squirrels using my car's engine compartment as storage for pine cones, and it caused fuses to melt into the fuse box, which in turn caused my car to not start. Thankfully, insurance covered it all, and at this point, I was over the whole vacation as we were less than 4 days before we needed to be home and have not heard from my dad. So I said, let's go home. I booked a hotel for the next night in a neighboring state to ours, hoping we would be able to stop and stay with my dad as it's the midpoint. It was 6 days since the whole situation with my dad, and I have not heard anything. So as we drove home, my husband texted my dad telling him we were heading home, as the car is finally fixed, and asked if we were welcome to stay the night before heading home. And my dad texted back,
You and the kids are, but your wife is not, until she apologizes for ruining Christmas to me.
My husband did not reply, and he reassured me that I did not ruin Christmas, and he started it and should not have, so we decided to drive past his house and drive to the following state to a hotel. We left the next morning, and I was courteous to my family, as I was raised to keep family in the loop when we were traveling, and texted my family text chain that we have going since my grandma got a smartphone. Hey, we're leaving town, name, and state, heading to other town, name, and state next to ours. My in-laws, stepmom, and grandparents all said, okay. Drive safe. My dad separately texted me,
I don't care. When you get home and want to be an adult and have an adult conversation about how you ruin Christmas, we will do so over the phone and not texting like a child. This man really, I think the issue is
he hates all
really
forms of communication.
Loves Christmas.
So I'm here still not calling my dad, but I want to know, am I the a-hole for ruining Christmas? And there is an update.
It makes me sad you're asking that. I'm sad for you.
I know.
I'm sad that
like you're literally going through like a mental, health thing. You have anxiety.
And your dad is putting so much shame on you, where now you're questioning is your own experience that you can't control, and that you know you can't control that. You're wondering, maybe he's right.
Yeah.
And that makes me really sad.
I don't like him. I don't like him one bit. Thank you, everyone, for your words, positive and negative. The kind and necessary words and reassurance that I was not wrong gives me the ability to sigh with relief. I'm trying to keep up with everyone and reply. To clear some things up that I have repeatedly responded to. My dad never acted like this towards me before, nor has he seen my anxiety attacks before. He lives in a world of denial. Mental health isn't a thing, and we suppress our emotions and bury it down and move on. My dad and my mom divorced when I was 3, and my dad was more of a a 2 weekends a month dad, and I remember calling him when I was younger, begging to stay with him when my mom was emotionally and psychologically towards me, and my dad would give me every and any excuse to not take me in, and in a way he only wanted to be a parent when it was his time, but not to actually be a parent. Yes, I have tried different anxiety meds, you name it, I've been on it, and they had such severe side effects on me to the point where I was hospitalized and meds are not for me. My therapist has given me more help than any medication ever will, and that's my opinion. Yes, I have a therapist, 13 years and counting, from my mother. They even said meds are not for everyone, and they have given me many coping mechanisms that help more when I have the time to do them. And yes, walking away from whatever is triggering an episode is a healthy way to deal rather than standing there and suffering. Some people were offended that my inability to eat was triggering my kids and setting a bad example. Everyone is different, and every day we deal with stress and anxiety differently. When my anxiety is high, I can't eat or I will throw up and get violently ill, and I'm on a lot of supplements that give me nutrients that I may be lacking. And my daughter understands this, and she's the most empathetic and emotionally tuned kid I know. She knows how people are feeling and wants to do nothing more than to comfort and help others. As of today, I have not heard anything, and I'm okay with that. I do not plan to contact him since, as it was pointed out by several of you, my dad is a giant child. Yeah, well, I'm kind of shocked that your stepmom's with him because she seems cool. Your dad seems kind of like he's... I do not plan to contact him since, as it was pointed out by several of you, my dad is a giant child and I don't owe him any apology, but he owes me one for knowingly attacking me and making everything worse just for him to victimize himself. We typically normally never talk a lot. It was like once in a month thing to check in, and I'm used to not talking to him, and I'll keep it that way. I did call my therapist when I got home and told them what happened, and they agreed that my dad swooping in before I got a chance to use any of my coping mechanisms in the end is what made things worse. They called it targeted victimization, where my dad intentionally made it worse and poked and pushed so he could act like he was a victim, even though he was intentionally putting me in more danger and causing more damage. By the way, you would be putting us in less danger. You would be causing no damage. If you listen to more full episodes of stories just like this, just go to OK Storytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. There's a little bit left to this story. I don't think you need to necessarily reach out to your dad. I think that hopefully he'll kind of come to his senses at some point, and then maybe not. Maybe he won't come to his senses.
It seems like deep-rooted beliefs and potential, his own trauma of his own dismissing or someone else's dismissing of his emotions and his inner world. And so I don't imagine this will change. Mm-hmm. There's miracles that could happen. I've seen miracles of people radically transforming. But to OP, I would ask you, if your dad never changed and never came around and always acted like that, would you still want to have a relationship with him, or would you want to have a very limited relationship with him, and how would that look?
Honestly, though, I'm sure if I was able to walk away and use my coping mechanisms to calm and rationalize things, this whole story would have ended differently, but that didn't happen. I did send his nasty text to my grandmother, and she also apologized for what my dad said to me, and she said parents will never hate their children, and he will come around once he realizes what he has done and what he lost, though I know she is disappointed in him. But that is the end of that story.
I am fed up with my toxic mother-in-law, so I confronted her on Christmas.
Just because it's Jesus' birthday doesn't mean we can't do a little confrontation.
It's exactly what it sounds like. They pushed me and I lost my crap. She celebrates on Christmas Eve, and I haven't really spoken to anyone in my husband's family about it for 5 months. By the way, this comes from Aggressive Nice Girl, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. His grandmother passed away in June, and we had to deal with them for services, etc. Before that, I hadn't talked to them in 4 years. When my father passed away in 2020, they couldn't be bothered to reach out, but tried to guilt my husband into checking on his brother because he was so sick from the vid. After that, and a barrage of texts telling me that I was the reason the whole family wasn't close anymore, 26 years together, by the way, I was done. But alas, Grandma passed and my husband loved her more than anything. His grandma was more of a mother to my husband than mother-in-law ever was. Mother-in-law made the service an entire spectacle. She acted like she hadn't thrown her mother into a home and left her there to rot. She acted like we were this huge happy family and started trying to plan birthdays together, holidays together, etc. I was polite and smiled and did my best to help with anything and just stay busy. She tried inviting herself to my adult son's birthday lunch. He didn't want her there either. Our son calls them the holiday family, but he's more neutral and tells me to chill and let it go. Holiday family's brutal. She did exactly what I said she would and tried using this as a way to bring my husband back into her life and make him a little holiday card family puppet like her other children. They all three do whatever she wants and never miss a holiday picture. They cannot fathom that my husband is married and has his own nuclear family with our own traditions. In October, I had enough of his brother randomly approaching us in public after he had been told to stay away from me. If I have to see him at a family thing, that's fine, but leave me alone. He actually was at a restaurant we were and decided to pay for our dinner. I was livid. This guy called me terrible things because he thought my husband didn't go to a family barbecue because of me. He is not allowed to speak to me, but pays for my dinner? No, thank you. I sent a text in the group chat and told him to stop, to leave me alone and not speak to me unless spoken to, and that I wanted nothing to do with him. He can have a relationship with his brother and leave me out of it. I'm a monster again, and it has been blessedly quiet for 2 months. Thanksgiving, she asked my husband for us all to go to her house. No thanks, babe, but you go ahead and stop by and see your family. He didn't. And we had dinner at our house with my son and his girlfriend in our pajamas watching Deadpool like we usually do. She texted him that he was the only one missing at her table. Now, this woman cannot cook. She store-bought all of it just for show, and never has she ever been a matriarch that hosts a big family event like that. I used to cook and invite them, but now I no longer do. Christmas, she wanted him there. I told him to go to her Christmas Eve thing for a bit. My mom's in town and I'll be fine. He declined. We went to dinner with my mom, sister, and son. Then I came home and drank wine and watched White Christmas, quiet and calm. He texts mother-in-law on Christmas Day to say Merry Christmas. No response all day. From her, or any of the siblings. And after about 3 glasses of wine, I text her that it was crappy she couldn't even respond to her son.
Uh-oh.
She responded that he didn't show up for her event, and so she was done letting us hurt her and make her look stupid. He never said he was going, by the way. There was back and forth, and when she texted me that I needed to remember where I came from and that they accepted me in spite of it, I lost my crap.
Oh, boy.
I told her that I know where I came from and that she should remember and watch her old booty mouth, or I would watch it for her. I told her that I have no idea how my husband is so great when he came from her effed up family. Ooh, I know I crossed the line there. And I feel bad because it puts my husband in a bad position, but also feel validated in her family saying that they look down on me for my upbringing and childhood. But my husband and I have made our own way in life with no help from anyone. We own multiple properties, work hard, and have raised an amazing a-hole of a kid. Okay.
Hey, at least she's being honest.
I know the fallout from this kind of threat will be big. I'm prepared for that. Hell, I am mean, but I feel like a grade A booty hole for putting my husband in this position. Husband said that he's not mad, but just didn't think it needed to be on Christmas. Because he's great, and I'm an evil villain who can't keep a mouth shut. That is all. We do have some comments here. Riley, what are you thinking?
I don't really see where our good OP is coming from, if that makes sense. I understand that she's been fed up and this has been happening over who knows how long. Why are we poking the bear on Christmas? You like to be calm. Did you feel bored? Did you want to get something off your chest?
She had 3 glasses of wine. She's like, you know what? You're being extra mean to my husband.
I don't know.
Riley, it's the season of giving. So she's giving stress.
It freaking sounds like it.
I mean,
yeah.
Being like, you need to remember your place. Being like,
that's wild. That is wild to say.
Oh, you mean the place how I'm your son's wife?
Yeah.
That place? The place where your son married me because I'm so cool? And you suck?
I don't know. I'm just not a fan of where Katrina Rain, she threatened to fight her husband's mom regardless of where the F you from. That's out of pocket. That is a very out of pocket.
Comment number 1.
I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
They called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch. Really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60 plus hours of members only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp.
Honestly, people have gotten way too comfortable with being disrespectful. They either hide behind a computer screen and say things anonymously that would get their booty rocked if they said it in person, or like your mother-in-law counts on the fact that it might cause problems in your relationship if you came back at her as hard as she comes for you. Unfortunately for her, you're the human equivalent of the find out in the F around and find out. OP replied, absolutely. My husband and I talked today and he's meeting her tomorrow to deal with what she said and let her know that she is completely wrong. He always tries to be nice, but he had enough. He was number 1, and there is an update. He went to meet her, and she immediately tried to boo-hoo and ask why I hate her so much and won't let him have holidays with his family. He shut that down and told her that he is a grown man, and it's offensive that she continues to say that I control him and he can't make his own decisions. He told her that it was his choice not to go and that he never committed to it or even asked me if I wanted to go. He said it was him that chooses not to go over on holidays because he has his own family and home that he prefers. He also told her that she was out of line with what she said to me and that in turn, I was out of line with her, that she needed to leave me alone in the future, and that if he wants to have a relationship with her, that it was up to him and not his wife. She continued to keep saying that she doesn't even remember why we didn't talk for 4 years, but that after her mother passed away, she thought we were letting bygones be bygones. He told her that no, that I was civil for his sake, but that I didn't want a relationship with her when she couldn't even be bothered to apologize to me. And how could we just move forward with no acknowledgement of the way they spoke to me and treated me? How could she think that I would ever go to her home when they let me know how they feel about me? Not gonna happen. Husband was firm that she is to leave me alone and reach out to only him in the future. The best part is that the gifts that she went out of her way to get us was a bottle of whiskey for my husband who doesn't drink and a clearly re-gifted cheap bottle of wine for me. I was upset that he brought the wine home as I told him not to bring me anything from her, and he said it was for both of us. Sure. He just didn't want to twist the knife anymore. I'll give him that one because I know it's already a hard thing for him to deal with his mother. I just chucked it in the trash and didn't think of it again. And by the way, don't chuck us in the trash. And you can think of us for 47 consecutive days, in fact. All you need to do is listen to full episodes with stories like this on your podcast platform of choice, be it Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts from. Just search OK Storytime. I dare you. It's been blissfully quiet in my house, but I did hear that she unleashed her crazy entitlement on one of his cousins, and that did give me a chuckle when my cousin called me to vent. Not sure how to move forward from this. I know it bothers my husband that I don't want to be around his family, but the cat is out of the bag, and she outright acknowledged that she thinks I'm beneath them. Ooh. I'm just so tired of the anger that I have for them. I would like to find a way, but I don't think I can ever look at her or his siblings and not remember how they treated me and the vile things said to me. And now I'm rambling. Here's to a quiet and peaceful coming year. Well, that is the end of that story.
I refuse to join my family's holiday trip because my mother will be there.
I hate my mom.
And we have a trigger warning, mentions of abuse. My 28 female dad is a massive enabler of my narcissistic mom, who we'll just call mom. Despite the fact that they're divorced, my dad keeps in contact with her every day. And if it wasn't for him, probably no one in my family would talk to her. By the way, this comes from Fake Lancelot. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. She is harmful and probably always will be. And we haven't talked in 3 weeks after our last fight. She blew up at me over a random news article and then showed up in my room at 1 a.m. crying about how I pick fights with her to get her to yell on purpose. So I love my dad and sister. They have a really bad habit of manipulating me into going along with all of their plans. This year I found out that my dad had planned a trip to another province to stay with my mom's extended family for a week, and most definitely because he knew I would not want to come, booked my airline ticket and Airbnb without telling me, and has told all of our relatives I will be coming. I found out from my grandpa. He never asked me directly and just kept assuming I would come. He dropped literally hundreds of dollars on willful manifesting. When I finally brought this up to him and said I didn't want to come and that he never actually asked me, he admitted that he didn't and apologized, but then pulled out every manipulation tactic in the book to get me to agree to come. Your relatives will all be passing away soon. What if you just come for 3 days and I'll book you an early flight back? You're my favorite, so if you don't go, I won't want to go either. Disgusting. I refused and told him I didn't want to spend my Christmas holidays worrying about my mom coming into my room at 1 a.m. to randomly shout at me. He insisted she wouldn't do that, but we both know she will. She always does. My sister sympathizes that my dad never asked me and that mom's behavior towards me sucks, but despite me having multiple conversations with both my dad and my sister, they still tell everyone I'm coming and act like nothing's happened. This is obviously disrespectful and crazy making, but despite my therapist and my friends all telling me I should absolutely not go on the trip and uphold my boundaries for my own peace of mind, I still find it very hard to disappoint my family. I'm weirdly petrified by the idea. It's made me really depressed and I've been self-isolating like crazy. My friends have all made Christmas plans to include me, so I won't be alone for the holidays. I'm so lucky to have them and I want to spend Christmas with them, but the conversation with my dad is terrifying. I know he's going to try to wriggle around it and I'm going to be the holiday bad guy. Any chance the supportive people of this sub can give me the final galvanizing push I need to plant my feet down and hold my ground. Any advice is also welcome. Thank you. And we have an update. I figured I should post this update because I was blown away by the response to my first post for support and want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. This subreddit is a godsend, and without it, I would probably be at the airport right now, which means you're not.
Let's
Yay!
go.
Big love to this amazing community. My mom came over yesterday so we could all leave to the airport early the next day. She was giving me the cold shoulder all day, only speaking to me to ask me to carry her suitcase into the house. A lunch with my sister's family and in-laws was organized. I was not asked or consulted on plans. I was just expected to come. However, I was happy to do this because I was not going on the Christmas trip and I still wanted to see my niece and give my sister's family their present. As expected, everyone acted as if my travel plans were set. I was scared out of my mind of telling my dad a firm no, but I had everything in place. I had everyone's gifts ready to go. I made plans from the 24th until New Year's. I ordered groceries online for the week. My therapist was on call. I had posted on Reddit for the final push. It was time.
Let's go.
To the many people who said I should just text or email and get out of the house until they were gone, I see the wisdom in your advice now. Oh no. But you still did it.
Yeah, but OP likes the hard way.
Yeah.
They like to stay on hard mode.
I was too scared to do that because I worried it would be too cold-hearted and I wanted to talk it out like adults. From now on, I'll probably just do as you suggested. It would save myself a lot of grief. I decided to talk to my mom first because sometimes she will take my side in conversations with my dad. She was surprisingly chill when I told her I wasn't coming and agreed that dad shouldn't have gone behind my back for plans. He's just always been that way. I don't think it's intentional, but compulsive. But then very randomly segued into all the wrongs I had committed a month ago, which primarily seemed to be letting her eat the ham I'd bought and being snappy about it when she offered to buy me more.
OP, just eat the ham.
Just eat all the ham.
Gosh, what the heck, OP?
She said, I don't think about the words I say and how they affect people. I said that I definitely have times where I get snappy, but usually, especially in the very odd cases she was giving me, it was in response to her and Dad's behavior. She said she didn't think that was fair and that she had tried to be patient with me and that I was lucky to have the parents that I have and that maybe I should consider how entitled I was being and my expectations were too high. I said calmly, I don't have any expectations for you. I don't want you to do anything. I just want to have fun Christmas with my friends. My mom said she wasn't going to be satisfied until I showed her some gratitude. Dad came into the room somewhere in the middle of all of this. My mom was crying and yelling as she berated me for ham I let her eat. It is probably relevant information that my mom has diagnosed bipolar disorder. I think her meds may need an update. He just sat on the couch and silently watched, which is what he always does. Finally, he asked, "What's going on?" And I said, I'm not going to Christmas trip location. She's mad about something else, though. I have no idea. This post is getting a little long, but suffice it to say that Dad's response was the worst. He got very upset, insisted I could not cancel this late, said I couldn't deal with this gestures to mom anymore.
Oh.
In a way, my mom exploding again was a gift from God because it reminded me that this was what I would be dealing with all week if I went on the trip. But my dad couldn't accept this. We went 2 rounds of conversations because he insisted that we needed to talk this out, but the whole time gave me the silent treatment and just sat on the stairs with his head in his hands without speaking, acting like a child.
Dude. Come on, Dad.
Like, I'd only seen him this way when my aunt passed away. He was acting like someone had passed away because I wasn't going on the Christmas trip I never agreed to. And that you didn't know about.
Yeah.
I said, is there anything you want to talk about besides trying to get me to change my mind? He said no. Later on, I said, imagine if I did suddenly change my mind and told you I'd go after all this. Would that really make you feel better? He said, yes. And I said, even knowing I'd be miserable the whole time? He was silent for a while and then said, you don't know how you'd feel when you got there. My mom proceeded to mock me for thinking he would answer in any other way. It was unbelievable, honestly. I feel like it's pretty believable at this point that you know this.
Also, I just think the mom likes to get on to the dad, so anything the dad does wrong, she's just gonna come after him.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting. But also, she's gonna come after you because she remembers what you did with that ham last month, and
that you
it's
either ate
unacceptable.
or didn't eat her ham and didn't buy more.
And why were you so snappy with her, huh?
I knew my parents were not normal and very undependable, but the way they reacted still shocked me. If you're ever not sure your family is self-absorbed, try telling them no. But I saw them off this morning, and as soon as they were gone, I felt lightheaded from how good it felt. I had cried myself to sleep without taking my makeup off and had a couple new zits this morning, and I still smiled at my reflection in the mirror. By the way, you can be smiling while you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Easy as that.
Easy. The world feels so big right now, and the house doesn't feel like a giant Venus flytrap. My friends called me to check on me, and my therapist responded to my text at the speed of light. My sister was incredibly understanding and supportive. I made myself eggs and washed the sheets for the guest room because my friend is coming tomorrow to stay with me for a few days. I am so grateful to myself for choosing me. I feel like I stood up for a little kid today who really needed me. I have a lot of decisions to make by the end of the week, but for the first time, I know I can do what's best for myself. Thank you to everyone in the sub. I hope everybody who reads this chooses peace for themselves this holiday season. And that is the end of that.
OP.
So wholesome.
That's so cute. I love this.
My girlfriend's bringing her husband to a party, but no one knows they're divorced.
Keeping up appearances. Messy.
I've 35 male, been with my girlfriend 44 female for 9 months. When we met, she was open about the fact that she had fully separated from her ex and that they would be starting official divorce proceedings. Those started around 1 month ago and are basically still in the early stages. By the way, this comes from Cute as Ducks, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Vincent.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. Yesterday, we were talking about work Christmas parties, and she told me her workplace was currently running a poll where the options were go alone, go with your partner, or say you're not going. When I asked what she was thinking of doing, she said she needed to talk to her ex-husband about it because she was going to take him if that option won. Her reason was that she didn't want to sit alone while everyone else was there with their spouses. Obviously, I reacted pretty badly to this. She said she couldn't bring me because nobody at her workplace knew about me or us. She had started her job about 3 months before we met. And everyone there was basically under the impression that she was still married, since that's how things had been when she joined. She said she didn't like people knowing her personal business, such as her separation or divorce, so she just went along with it. She said that bringing me would therefore be weird, and that she temporarily wanted everything to still look normal by bringing him. She said she couldn't bring me because nobody at her workplace knew about me or us. She had started her job about 3 months before we met, and everyone there was basically under the impression that she was still married, since that's how things had been when she joined. She said she didn't like people knowing her personal business, such as her separation or divorce, so she just went along with it. She said that bringing me would therefore be weird, and that she temporarily wanted everything to still look normal by bringing him. I questioned why she would need to go and pretend to essentially strangers. I told her she could easily just go on her own instead, and she told me I didn't understand how difficult it was for her. She said I was making it all about me by asking to be prioritized, which in my eyes was just basic consideration. She said I was acting irrational and jealous, and that she didn't have to run any of her decisions by me. She then started crying, hung up on me, and texted me to say she wanted space for a few hours. But she hasn't been in touch since, and that was 24 hours ago. I haven't reached out because I feel I haven't done anything wrong. I feel really horrible about her wanting to take him along so easily because it feels like she hasn't considered my feelings at all. We didn't have a conversation about it. She just told me her plan. To me, that feels a little disrespectful to me in our relationship. I know we've not been together for very long, so maybe I don't have the right to be involved in her decisions, but I would still expect to at least have a conversation about something that directly affects us. I also don't understand why she needs to pretend to people she doesn't really know, or why she couldn't have just used the opportunity to explain the situation. But I don't know if I'm being selfish like she said. Am I the a-hole? I've never been married, so I don't know if I've just majorly downplayed everything and been inconsiderate. Honestly, I appreciate everyone's advice and opinions. Comment 1 says, not the a-hole. This is a massive red flag. You're worried about reacting badly, but the real problem is that 9 months into a relationship, she is actively choosing to prioritize the appearance of an intact marriage over publicly acknowledging her actual relationship with you. She isn't worried about people knowing her business. She's worried about admitting she's moved on before the divorce is final, which suggests she is keeping open the option of reconciliation. The excuse that it would be weird to bring you, but normal to bring the man she's divorcing is absurd and deeply disrespectful to you. Demand honesty and transparency or walk away, because right now you are her secret and the ex is her preferred public face. Yeah. Oof.
I don't like that. Like, she's trying to keep up appearances.
Yeah.
But like, if the appearances aren't the truth, then what's it worth?
Exactly.
You know?
And she says, "Oh, I don't want people to know about my private life." Then why do you even care about lying to them? You don't owe him anything.
Yeah. Also, go alone. Go alone and tell people, yeah, I'm going through a divorce proceeding.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to hide. You can, if you don't want to tell people you've been dating someone for 9 months before you're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
Just go alone and be like, yeah, we're splitting.
Or even you just say, I'm here alone. Like, you don't even have to, like, if someone says, oh, is your husband could make it or whatever, you're like, no.
Yeah. Make up a lie.
Couldn't make it.
Say got in a car accident. Like, make it tragic. Get sympathy.
Yeah. And they're like, I'm so sorry. You're like, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I needed that. You might get a casserole out of it. People will feel sorry.
People always give casseroles.
Mm-hmm.
OP responds and clarifies the timeline of his relationship and how long the girlfriend had the job before meeting OP. OP says, glad you brought this up because, to be honest, I can't answer this either now that I think about it. From what she told me, the relationship had been basically done a good year before they separated. She started the job in October and they had separated before we began dating in January. So I guess maybe she talked about him in the crossover? OP responds to some comments about his girlfriend's motives to hold on to him and still not being over her ex-husband. OP says, just wanted to say thank you for this and for sharing your experience. Finally, this helps me understand what her motives or intentions might have been. She had a bad experience with a previous workplace and was out of work for quite some time, which left her scarred. She was constantly worrying the same thing would happen at this job. And it's a high-power role, so I can totally understand why she might have wanted to make out that everything was okay, like you did, so that personal issues couldn't be used against her. I guess if you're that scared, you would to some extent try to keep up the charade, especially because she's only been in the job a year, which isn't solid ground in our country. You need to be safe from sudden sackings. I just wish she'd explained that. If she had said, look, this is what I'm thinking of doing because right now it feels safer for me to make out that everything's fine so they don't think I'm distracted from my job since it's getting a bit meaty now, I would have understood.
That she's under?
Yeah.
But still, I feel like it would show more strength that, like, yeah, I'm facing this thing and I can still rock my job.
Like, if I was super stressed at work and we had, like, an event where I needed a +1, I'm not bringing my ex. Like, let's say, like, they didn't know that I had a new boyfriend. I'm not bringing my ex.
Also, imagine if that went wrong.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, hi, how you guys doing? And her ex-husband's like, yeah, we're breaking up.
Yeah, is he gonna stick to the script?
Yeah, what if he just like throws gasoline on that
he goes,
fire?
oh, this is my ex-wife.
I think that's a funny TV episode.
Yeah.
That's a funny TV episode.
I bring my ex-husband.
I bring my ex-husband and he's just like,
he's terrible.
Crapping on everything.
I don't know if I'd have been super comfortable with it. I still think she could have gone alone and made an excuse, but I get why maybe that would have looked weird too. But if we worked out boundaries together, then it could have been okay. And like you said, if only the not running decisions by me, the silent treatment, and making me feel bad for having what turned out to be legit concerns hadn't happened, all of this could have been resolved. However, it's that behavior that's not okay, as everyone here has helped me see. So it's that behavior which concludes my decision. Thank you so much for giving me this perspective and for future understanding. I hope you and your kiddo are doing well now. We do have an update.
Okay.
There were a lot of repeating questions that I didn't answer in the post because it all moved way too quick. So I wanted to answer those now in case those commenters were still wondering. Who filed and did I definitely know they were divorcing? My ex-girlfriend has always made out that she had begun proceedings. Honestly, I don't know for definite that they are, but she did have a few meetings with the lawyer when I was with her, and she'd moved into her own place in March, so to me, all the signs pointed that way. But of course, it may not have been the truth. 2, why would her ex-husband agree to go? This is a solid question, and if I'm honest, from what she told me about him, I genuinely don't think he would have. One of the reasons she gave for their marriage collapsing was that he became more antisocial and introverted and stopped wanting to go anywhere and do anything with her. I think that's why it felt worse, because if she was telling the truth about him, she was willing to take someone who had previously, on multiple occasions, said he didn't want to go and do these things. If I'm honest, on reflection, I think that this is an example of her refusing to face reality and clinging onto her old identity. Thank you so much to the commenters who gave me this insight. She just thought he'd agree because previously he probably always begrudgingly has, and she hadn't appreciated or logically thought about the weight of what she would be asking. If it was me, I certainly would have said no, like everyone else said they would too. So on to the update. We split up, which I think is the move.
I think that's fair. There's too many red flags for this to be a relationship that
has longevity.
Yeah, you can't build a skyscraper on loose sand.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. I mean, not only was it just the audacity to say I'm bringing my ex to an event because I don't want to tell people that I'm dating you.
Instead of going
alone.
It's so avoidable.
Absolutely. But then even after that, you have all of this kind of gaslighting OP saying, why are you upset? It doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like just, not okay.
OP, you're not the bad guy here.
Not the bad guy. Get someone new.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to all the perspectives here, I texted her to say that I hoped she was okay and that the space had given me time to reflect on the situation. I explained that I could see things from her perspective and what her intentions might have been, but that I was hurt that she hadn't felt she could communicate that with me first, as if she had, the outcome might have been different and we could have worked something out. However, I felt her behavior in calling me selfish and the not running decisions by me, etc., was disrespectful and inconsiderate, and that was now my major problem in moving forward with the relationship. She replied to say that if I was going to just bring another source of pain and stress to her life, then I may as well go, because I was still making the whole thing about me and my feelings, and not appreciating her not breaking apart at the seams while her life did. So she'd be taking more space until I decided what I wanted. By the way, I want you to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but what a response.
Yeah.
To take the fact that you haven't gotten over your previous relationship and are not in the right mental headspace to be in a relationship, and blame that on your partner.
Yeah.
It's like, why you didn't have to look for a relationship if you weren't ready for one.
Yeah, it sounded like she either dove into this thing with OP way too early and needed to process whatever was going on with that divorce first. Or it's just red flags.
Red flags. Good job in breaking up.
Yeah.
That was the right move. But OP finishes. Thanks to all of you, I realized how invalidating and, again, manipulative that was. So I told her we'd make the space permanent and wished her all the best. Her response was just, okay, and asking if she could still use my Netflix password. No. So I changed it. Then she texted again a little while later asking why I'd changed it. And could I put it back because it had locked her out of a show she was watching? I had a good laugh to myself about the irony of decision-making without running it by her and didn't respond. On to better things and definite lesson learned for the future in seeing the red flags. Once again, a massive thanks to this community. And that's the end of the story.
My siblings slept with my ex during my engagement party, so I went nuclear. I, female 36, and my fiance Hugh, male 40, are set to get married in late July, and it's been wonderful. We've been together for 5 years, and I am head over heels for this man. He loves my family, and I love his. We now have our own home hours away from my hometown, 2 dogs, and all but the white picket fence to go with it. By the way, this comes from user Ceramic Jedi Guardian, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I have to add backstory. When I was in high school, I dated a boy in my grade, Edward, now male 36, and we were together forever. We went to the same university and eventually got an apartment together. We graduated. He graduated a year after me, longer story, and talked about marriage. I wanted to marry him, and since we got our own apartment, he'd been talking about marriage after we graduate. Well, we graduated, and then he starts talking about marriage after we get steady grown-up jobs. I got my job, but he remained in his service industry job, which was fine to me. He eventually got a full-time job there as a senior bar manager, and I was so ecstatic for him. I then mentioned that now that we both have our adult jobs, we can renew the talk of marriage. He shut that down. He kept saying that his job is still an in-between job, and he wanted a job in the field he studied, which is business. I was confused and asked how he isn't in that job. He argued that he wants to make at least $60,000 a year before we get married. He made a little under 50 at the time. And I told him I was getting tired of waiting. I tried to give him time, but I did want to get married. It was important to me. We argued, and he admitted that he didn't want to get married. He loved me, but didn't want marriage. I was heartbroken, and we carried on for a little less than a month before I told him that I loved him so much, but I want marriage. And since he's changed his mind, our ideas of the future are no longer aligned. He asked me to stay and suggested we simply lie and say we eloped to family and friends. But that's just about the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, because that completely misses the freaking point, which is your wife wants to be married, idiot. It took me a while to get past the failed relationship for a lot of reasons. He was my first in many senses, and I truly thought we would have that high school sweetheart love story. The breakup was messy. He was petty about everything. He basically took everything when he moved out, claiming he put in $20, so it should be his, but since he uses it the most. It was miserable, but I tried to stay calm as he moved out quickly, so it was over quickly. Still, it took a while to get over him, but I did finally get over him. Hugh and I met about a year later, and we eventually started dating. We both went in wanting a courtship that would move into getting married eventually. Edward was likely aware of me dating Hugh because my social media wasn't private, and he's still good friends with my brother and knows my sister as she's a year older than us. My parents still liked him, and thus he was around for community events and such. Now on to the issue. Wow, none of that was even the issue. Mom wanted to throw an engagement party, and it happened the day before Father's Day. My mom did ask if it was okay if Edward came, and I said I wasn't entirely comfortable with having my ex at my engagement party. Yeah. Nadoy.
You're so silly, Opie. Why would that make you uncomfortable?
So, it was one heck of a hootenanny, that party. Mama kept mixing drinks and adding to her old party punch. I myself got a little sauchate. We danced and did karaoke well into the night, and I was singing You'll Be Back from Hamilton when I saw Hugh walking back into the backyard, and his face was enraged. I finished the song and made my way to him and asked what was wrong, but he said for us to just enjoy our night and brought me another drink. We stayed over, and I woke up earlier than expected yesterday and went to the porch to enjoy some fresh air and much-needed cold water when eventually my brother Quincy came out. He froze when he saw me and just slumped and said, I guess you know. But when I stared at him and laughed, like, what do you mean? He told me that last night he walked in on Edward and my sister Emma, female 37, wastedly going at it in the guest room. Hugh confirmed that Quincy came to find him to tell him what happened, and they went to my parents, and despite everyone looking for Edward and Emma, both of them were gone. That's around the time Hugh found me.
Whoa.
Emma's OP's sister.
Sister. OP's fiance?
Is Hugh,
Is
not Edward.
Okay, so who's Edward?
The ex.
It's the ex. Dang, man. At the engagement party?
So, like, does the family still like him after this? Like, yeah, maybe.
It's a different route.
They're, like, secretly cheering about this.
Wow.
When I checked my phone, Edward had texted that night looking for me, asking to talk and saying we needed to talk in person and that it was important. Then he texted that he was still in love with me and we needed to talk about this mistake I was making. And then he hooked up with my sister. I tried to call Emma, but she didn't answer, and Hugh and I were leaving for our flight, so I texted her just stating I knew about her and Edward, and I generally don't care who she sleeps with, as it's not my business, and Edward is not my problem anymore, but she should know about what he texted me, and I sent her the screenshots of his text. I also told her that it was disrespectful in any case to do any of this at my engagement party, but it was especially disrespectful that it was my ex, and she is my sister.
Yeah.
Well, he just got caught up in it. He's like, man, you look so much like the bride to be.
Dang, man.
And I'm a little tipsy. I'll just take it. He probably still has feelings for OP. Hot take.
Well, probably.
Are you kidding?
Okay, I just got here, so.
Hugh and I got back home yesterday afternoon, and he took me to see Thunderbolts last night to make me feel better and take my mind off things. We worked today, so I had plenty to occupy me, but Emma still hasn't responded. And I only just heard from my mom telling me that Emma confirmed she is physically okay, but she doesn't want to speak to us just yet. I'm hours away trying to make sense of this because this is not my sister at all, and frankly, I don't care what Edward does. I've already blocked him for my own mental health after showing Hugh his texts. Quincy's suggesting I take time to calm down and not overreact, but to be honest, I've hardly had the bandwidth to really react at all. He's telling me that he loves me, but if I care who sleeps with my ex or anything about my ex's spicy sleep life, then I need to reconsider an engagement because it sounds like I'm not over him. Am I crazy here? Yeah, no, this is a problem with your sister. Edward is a non-factor. Really, your family sucks for keeping him around.
Yeah.
After you guys had a messy breakup.
Yeah.
Like I've really never had a messy breakup.
Yeah.
But like, if I did, and my parents were like, but they were so nice, I'd be like, yeah, they were until they did this, remember?
Right. Like, don't you love me? Can't you see what they did? What they did wrong?
Yeah, man. Like,
come on, guys. It's not cool. That's like family code. We got bro code. We got girl code. That's family code, man.
My parents did not invite Edward. Mom asked because she was asked by her close friend, who was also Edward's mother. They're friends from school, and she wasn't sure about it, so she checked with me first. I never told my parents about how he treated me. Again, it was so brief, and I just wanted him out. I did tell my siblings later, and it caused my brother to stop being his friend for a while, but I've since told him I don't care if he's friends with Edward, as Edward is not my concern anymore. And yes, I'm sure I'm over Edward. I got over him, and it took a while, and it hurt, but he's just a part of my past. I have seen him on occasion, but we don't say more than 2 sentences to each other at once. Sorry, I did skew ages and used fake names to be a little more anonymous, which I thought was the way you're supposed to do it. But it's my first post, so I don't know how this all works, and that is how you're supposed to do it. Shut up!
It's okay, OP.
Yes, my brother and Edward are friends as far as I know. I haven't asked about it after the party. I genuinely don't know. I don't live there anymore. And Hugh is fine. He's upset for their behavior and that it put a damper on our evening more than anything else. Lastly, my siblings don't live at the house. The house was purchased after we all moved out of the family home, which my brother rents from my parents. Update.
Woo! Dive right in.
It falls off. 2 weeks ago, Emma finally replied, well, kind of. It was just one message. I'm going no contact. I need to protect my mental health. Shut up! No context. No, I love you. No, I didn't do it. Just, I need to prioritize my mental health. I'm going no contact with you. And then she blocked me everywhere. Then absolute silence. I texted Quincy and he didn't get the text. Just got blocked. Mom, she isn't blocked, but said she would try to find out what's happening. I was already raw, but this broke something in me when I was logging on my next new phone. I logged onto Instagram and found a message request from Emma's best friend, Danica, who I know sort of, but not very well. I wish I hadn't read it. Danica wrote me an absolute wall of text tearing me apart, calling me a toxic, manipulative witch of a sister, saying I'm running a smear campaign to protect my scandalous golden sibling Quincy, that Emma deserves a better family and no wonder she's going no contact and we can all go F ourselves. Danica said if I really cared about Emma's mental health, I'd shut up and take accountability.
Wow.
This is where you send 8-ball pool.
There you go.
This is where you send the game. Hey, do you want to play 8-ball pool in our phone?
Hilarious.
We want to play a phone game?
I'm definitely going to use that.
8-ball pool time.
Gosh, man.
I reread this nonsense at least 5 times and burst into tears. I couldn't breathe. I dropped my phone on the floor and Hugh came in with lavender tea and he just sat next to me while I sobbed into his chest. He didn't say anything, just held me.
Aww.
I couldn't even form words. I mean, I won't claim to be an angel, but I've never had anyone talk to me that way before in my life. Later, I called my mom. She was confused and said she hadn't heard from Emma either, but she tried to check in. That was 2 weeks ago. But then, this past Saturday, she called me again, and this time her voice was tight. Not angry, just heavy. I hate that tone. That's the tone of, it's about to go down, and I'm already so tired of all this. She said, OP, Quincy has something he wants to say. And I hear sobbing, like loud, broken, ugly sobbing. I didn't even know it was Quincy at first, just heaving, choking sob. Then Quincy says it was me, and my stomach dropped.
This wasn't a friend.
He finally managed to get it out. Him and Edward had been hooking up on and off.
What? Who is Quincy?
Quincy is clearly a member of the Gaycation Club.
Oh my goodness.
Quincy's just
What?
taking Edward.
So-
Quincy's taking Edward on a gaycation.
I would have not even guessed that.
But it was not Emma, or it was both Emma and Quincy?
Now I'm just extra mad, dude, because Emma's a freaking idiot. Everyone in this story is a freaking idiot, except, like, I don't know. Everyone's dumb. I hate everyone in this story now. My brother Quincy and Edward have been hooking up on and off for a while.
Oh, his brother.
He didn't say how long. He said he caught feelings, real ones, but Edward made it clear that he was still in love with me. From what Quincy told me, that night at the engagement party, Emma stumbled in wasted and borderline blacked out, found them, cursed them out, stormed out. They panicked. Quincy said he freaked out that it would destroy the family and that she'd tell everyone. So Edward took Emma home and Quincy went into damage control mode. Damage control. This is, again, this is nonsense and it's a lie. What it really is I didn't want to get in trouble. It's not about worrying about tearing the family apart because you're making it about another member of the family. You doofus.
Right.
You're a coward. You were a coward in this moment, Quincy. That's what this was.
Edward's really doing whatever he can to come back in this family.
He told my fiance, he told my parents, but he said it was Emma. He threw our effing sister under the bus to protect his affair. He didn't say a word. I just hung up. And by the way, when this stream hangs up, you can mosey on over to your podcast platform of choice. Heck, you can even do it right on YouTube or Spotify or iHeartRadio. Just search OK Storytime and you can listen to a plethora of episodes. And boy, oh boy, are there a lot. So we've got some more story here. Honestly, yes, Leali bint Mona says Emma was falsely accused. Yes, she was. my confusion comes from. Where is any communication? Where are hey, that wasn't me. What are you talking about?
Why didn't we get any of that? Emma?
Not the,
Emma? What are you doing?
Oh, well, Quincy told me this happened. Oh, Quincy told you that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's like, again, just I want to slam my head through a wall. Communication would solve every problem with this situation right now.
Yeah.
Not even, of course, Quincy's going to lie. I just mean communication between the sisters.
Right, but she just went block. Block.
You're blocked. You hurt my feelings. Blocked. And talk to each other.
Then get the friend to be block. F you, OP. You're bad to your sister. It's like, she's been framed.
This is like, I want to do like, how I feel right now is like the moment in the action movie where like a guy takes like two people's heads and like smacks them together. Like, I just feel like that. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
We're going to finish this story. I tried to call Emma. I'm blocked. Text, undelivered. Instagram, blocked. Facebook, blocked. Hugh has tried to help with communications because I just haven't been able to function. Quincy has now blocked him on everything, but Emma didn't block Hugh, so he sent her a message to tell her we all know the truth and are sorry and to please reach out. We haven't heard anything back. Honestly, I don't care. If Emma can't speak up for herself, like in that moment, this is everyone's fault. Everyone is at fault to some degree in this situation. Mom is just sad. She's not been messaging or replying much at all. Hugh says she's just lost. Well, so am I. I'm tired and so heartbroken. That's all I can say right now. And that's the end of that story. My girlfriend went to her ex's birthday party without telling me.
Well, you're not getting a present from me.
I'm 29 male, and I've been dating my girlfriend, Lena, 27 female, for about 10 months. Things have been great overall. She's funny, smart, independent, and we've talked about maybe moving in together next year. No major issues have happened until this weekend. This comes from user dryinstruction3284, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So here's what happened. On Saturday, Lena told me she was going out with a few friends from college. Cool, no problemo. I had plans to watch the game with my brother anyway. But the next day, I saw a photo on one of her friends' Instagram stories, and the caption said, "Happy birthday, Jason." I recognized Jason. He's her ex, the one she dated for about 3 years and broke up with about a year before we met. They were pretty serious from what I've gathered. I never made a big deal about it because she told me they're on a decent terms, but not really that close. So naturally, I asked her later that night, "Hey, were you at Jason's birthday thing?" And she looked a little surprised and said, "Yeah," but quickly followed it up with, "It wasn't a big deal. It was a group thing, and I didn't think it mattered." I didn't raise my voice or accuse her of anything. I just said I wished that she had mentioned it beforehand. She got kind of defensive and said I was making something out of nothing, and that it's not like she was hiding it. But she kind of did hide it. I mean, I don't want to be controlling, and I know people stay friends with their exes, but the fact that she didn't even mention she was going to his birthday rubs me the wrong way. It just feels off. I'm not accusing her of cheating or anything, but I can't shake the feeling that she intentionally kept it vague so I wouldn't ask questions. She said she didn't think I'd care, but this whole thing just makes me feel kind of sidelined. So am I overreacting?
Nor.
It's weird. Especially her reaction, too.
Yeah, I mean, if she had nothing, if she didn't have a problem with anything, she wouldn't have reacted this way. But she did. And it's suspicious.
Yeah. At most, it would be oh, shoot.
Yeah.
That's on me.
That's
my bad.
my bad.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
That's fine. So, we got some relevant comments. Comment number 1. Was Lena, her friends, and Jason all part of the same friend group? Because it's weird how her friends are attending their friend's ex-boyfriend's birthday party if they aren't all in the same friend group. Not saying she's cheating on you, but I do understand why you are uncomfortable about the whole situation, especially as she got all defensive instead of reassuring you. OP replies, they were part of the same friend group in college, but I honestly didn't know that they were still close, let alone close enough to go to a birthday. Comment number 2. I wouldn't be bothered if she was upfront. Generally, it's reasonable to ask permission of your partner if that's okay with your relationship dynamic to hang out with exes. Some people have great relationships with exes that don't have to be romantic, but it can be weird for their partners if they don't talk about it like a responsible partner would. And if after asking it isn't cool, great. Now 2 people know they have different ideas of how relationships work, and that's helpful to know. If it is cool, great. Y'all are compatible. So it's still something someone should ask, not hide, and that's what I'm emphasizing here. Not asking or not even mentioning it makes something that is otherwise not suspicious very suspicious. Orange, reddish flag. I don't know her well enough to outright call it a red flag. She could just be stupid. Sorry for being blunt. OP says, the thing is, I didn't know they were still in contact. This is how I found out they are, in fact, still talking to each other. Comment 3 says, do they have kids together? If not, there is no reason to interact with an ex, which I disagree with that though. Ghost her and move on. OP says, they don't have kids together. Comment 4, there's no point in asking her this question now, but given what you know about your girlfriend, would she be cool if the shoe was on the other foot? If you ask her now, of course she'll say she'd be totally fine with it, but that is 100% gaslighting. OP replies, I know for a fact she definitely wouldn't be okay with it if it was the other way around. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an update.
It's not looking good.
I mean,
I don't know if it's like, I feel like they could get out of this. Maybe she's just being defensive because she feels like she's being accused of something.
Yeah.
That OP is not accusing her of.
Could be.
Potentially.
Maybe she hasn't cheated, but she's like, I want to.
Yeah, she was emotionally, involved, which OP didn't know that they were even talking. So not good, not good.
I'm just trying to think of what I would genuinely do in this situation.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I think I'd be pretty sussed out.
I would too.
I'd be like, but the lie, the secret. Why did you do secret?
Well, it really personally for me, I have no problems with a partner talking to an ex. Like that is not something that I've ever really been like, rah. But if you lie, if you hide it.
Making it a secret is what makes it really weird now. Because it's like, okay, there's really only one reason that you do that.
Exactly. Why does it need to be a secret?
Let's get into this update. Keep your secrets. A few comments really stuck with me, especially the ones that pointed out that it's not necessarily about where she went, but how she handled it. I ended up bringing it up when she came over this evening. Nothing dramatic. I just said I'd been thinking about it and that it bothered me. Not even the party itself, but the fact that she didn't mention it. She didn't seem surprised that I brought it up. There was a bit of an eye roll at first, but she didn't push back much. She was mostly quiet. The energy in the room shifted right away. She said something vague about not wanting it to be a thing. Not much of an apology, more like trying to smooth it over and move on quickly. And maybe that's what I'm doing too, in my own way. Afterwards, we kind of just moved around each other for the rest of the evening. She left very quickly after that, and right now, I'm reading comments on my original post. I'm not sure where I land on all of this. Nothing exploded, but it also didn't feel resolved. She didn't seem interested in understanding why it bothered me, just in making sure that it didn't mess with the vibe. It's not a breakup level thing, not yet, but it does feel like something shifted in our relationship. And there are some more comments here. Comment 1 is, I don't know how that's not breakup worthy. She didn't tell you because she didn't want it to be a thing. That means she knew it was going to be an issue for you, or that it might cross a boundary. So she didn't give you a heads up. It was 1000% thought out, methodical, intentional. She's now gaslighting and manipulating you. She's using what you said when confronting her to justify why she hid it. See, this is why I couldn't tell you this type of crap. She sees nothing wrong with this, which is why you don't feel like it's resolved, because it isn't resolved. She wanted to go and didn't care that you wouldn't be okay with it, and now wants to move on with no consequences. She will also just hide it better next time if you do let it go. She got away with it if that's the case, after all. She's proven she only cares about herself. She doesn't care about your feelings because she clearly considered you would be upset and did it anyway. If the roles were reversed, she would likely break up with you. Yet she will repeat this behavior in the future again to please herself. She's shown you exactly who she is, and this type of lesson is only learned when you face consequences. It sounds like there have been and likely will be 0. Because you sound ready to stay. Prepare yourself for the repeat behavior and further gaslighting. Comment number 2 says, her unwillingness to address this and acknowledge what she did wrong tells you everything you need to know. If she respected you, she would want to know why it upset you and would try to make it right. When she eye rolls you over her screw up, it's time to move on, OP. Comment 3 says, just like how her going wasn't the issue, it was her hiding it. The issue is now her reaction. A normal and healthy reaction to a boyfriend over this would be along the lines of, I'm so sorry, I should have told you. Instead, she's turning it around on you and admitting she hid it because she thought your reaction would be poor. And la-da-da, yeah, we know that's bad. She won't apologize. She should. There's a second update. You're leaving, right? Are you leaving?
Yeah, I'm gone.
After this, it's I'm not being like, you can do your apology right now. I'd be like, you messed that up so horrifically bad that I'm leaving.
You didn't apologize. She didn't apologize.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just be so like, if this was the reaction, the eye rolling really gets me. Like, how do you get an eye roll?
Yeah, I gotta assume that would have killed the conversation immediately.
Truly,
she would have rolled her eyes. I'd be like, you know what? Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and leave.
Eye rolling is not part of adult conversation with your partner that you love, unless you're jokingly doing it. You're like, you're being so silly. Like
You're
that.
like, oh my God, you're like so
You're
cute.
so silly.
Oh
No.
my God.
Otherwise, out. Don't get that out there.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the second update. It's been about 10 days since I posted. Things between me and Lena never really got back to normal after that night. We had a few awkward conversations in the days after. Nothing explosive, but I could tell there was tension. She kept saying I was overthinking it, that it wasn't that deep, but the way she avoided the topic or brushed it off just made me feel worse. The whole situation stuck with me more than I expected. It wasn't even about the party itself anymore. It was more how she handled it. It became pretty clear that we look at communication in relationships really differently. I felt like I couldn't fully trust her to be upfront, and once that feeling crept in, it was hard to shake. By the way, you can move and shake your way down over to more full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. All you gotta do is search OK Storytime.
You silly little goose. Just search up OK Storytime.
And you can listen to 2,500 plus episodes.
That's so many.
It's almost too many. You gotta listen to them.
Ooh-wee.
So,
Maybe take a weekend off. I mean, a weekday. Take an extended weekend.
take a hiatus. Take a sabbatical.
Take a sabbatical so you can listen to all of our stories.
Yes. So let's finish this story. We ended up having a more serious talk this past weekend. She admitted she didn't tell me about the party because she, quote, knew how I'd react, which kind of confirmed the whole point for me. I don't want to be with someone who feels like they need to hide things to keep the peace.
Woo! Woo! OP, you did it!
Yay!
You did it!
We got there.
Woo!
We didn't fight. It was more of a mutual, quiet decision to end things. It just felt like we were on different pages and forcing it wasn't going to help either of us. Obviously, it sucks. I didn't want it to go this way. But in hindsight, I'm glad I trusted my gut. That uneasy feeling never really went away, and I think I'd rather deal with the short-term hurt now than drag this out. That's all. Not much more to say, except for these top comments.
Yay!
Comment 1, she admitted she didn't tell me because she knew how I'd react. That's the go-to response of someone who isn't being honest in a relationship. She wouldn't have liked it if you did it to her, but instead of being honest about her plans that evening, she decided to play keep away with the information, knowing it's not a good look on her part, and didn't want to be called out on it. And commenter 2 says, in my opinion, you did the right thing. And just more stuff we've already said.
Yeah.
You did the right thing.
You did the right thing. It wasn't going to work out if she was going to behave like that. You don't want to build a relationship with someone who cannot apologize. I put a stop to the party my wife threw for our daughter.
Party pooper. And we're back, guys, in the same clothes.
Woo! Let me set the stage. My wife and I, 43 male and 42 female, have 2 daughters, 7 years apart. 19-year-old was out of college in a different state when this happened. The girls are very different. The 19-year-old is outgoing, even extroverted, loves meeting new people, trying new things, etc. 12-year-old is shy, A homebody finds things she's comfortable with and sticks with them. In fairness, 19-year-old was kind of like this until she was 16 or so. Maybe it's genetic. By the way, this comes from Yoka Loka Choka. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, and a couple months ago, 12-year-old comes to me in my home office, obviously upset, stammers a bit, then manages to tell me that she just got her first period. I play the supportive dad, comfort her, and get her a box of sanitary pads my wife had bought earlier in the year, guessing this was going to happen sooner or later, and go over the instructions with her. Good dad.
Wow.
Good on ya.
Look at that. I would. Oh my God, you're bleeding. Oh my God.
You're bleeding.
Are you okay? Oh my God.
Somebody call 911.
You're dying.
What do we do? That'd be me. Because I
Wow,
don't know what
you're-
it's like. Because I grew up with brothers.
You got to figure it out, man. If you have a daughter,
Well,
you got to figure it out.
my genetics are probably won't. I want one, but probably won't.
And just
You-
boys.
What? I have like all of my.
But Angie's got a bunch of sisters.
She has two
So
sisters
maybe,
and a brother.
maybe it'll counteract.
I hope so. I do want my first kid to be a girl.
Oh. And she goes into the bathroom, does what she has to do, thanks me for my help. I got her some ice cream and my doll, told her there was nothing to be embarrassed about, and she could always come to me for anything. Good job, Dad. Wife gets home later that day. 12-year-old tells her what happened. Wife starts crying. My little girl is growing up, etc. Then asks who should be invited to the period party.
Whoa, wait, what?
Okay.
Is it like a tea party, but you just have red 40 in the tea?
Which I only knew from listening to Bert Kreischer if they were a thing when our 19-year-old started. She never asked for one. I have heard that comedy clip. Have you seen that? It's like a comedian is like, my daughter asked for a period party. Okay, well, anyway.
Well, no, like, what is it?
I don't remember the full clip, but it's just him like in his special he's talking, or in his set he's talking about how his daughter was gonna like invite a bunch of boys and not tell him that it was a period party, and he was like, yes, evil. There's a whole thing. It's funny.
His daughter was a grade below yours.
Oh wait, that's that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. 12-year-old immediately closes off, says she doesn't want a period party, doesn't want anyone to know. Wife tries to talk to her some more, but 12-year-old ignores her and goes to her room. Wife tries to enlist my aid in changing her mind, but I tell her she said she didn't want one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, also, you could have maybe done that with your extroverted daughter, but
Yeah.
too bad you didn't think of the idea.
Too bad, so sad. Your 12-year-old doesn't want it.
Or you say, my 19-year-old daughter just had her first period, and then you give her one.
Yeah, you retroactively give her a period party. 2 days later, I got home from running errands, and before I can even make it to the stairs, 12-year-old runs up to me and asks if she can do her homework in my office. I'm confused, but say sure, and she bolts upstairs. At this point, I started to suspect what was going on and walked into the living room to find that my wife had not only decorated it like something which wouldn't have looked out of place on my super sweet 16, but there were several family friends, all women, and a few I recognize as neighborhood mothers. Why are you doing this? You're clearly just embarrassing your daughter. Why would you, she doesn't want it.
Weird.
I beckon wife into the hall. She asks where 12-year-old is, and I tell her she wanted to do homework in my office. She rolls her eyes and starts to move past me, but I step in front of her. What are you doing? Wife. Going to get 12-year-old. It's her party. Me. She told you specifically she didn't want one of these. Wife. Oh, she didn't mean that. This is an important time for a girl. She needs to know not to be ashamed of her body. She's not. I already explained things to her. She just doesn't want to talk about it more. Were you going to say something?
I don't understand why the mom is doing this. It sounds like you got 3 daughters in your house. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's not being
She's being a bully.
She's being a bully. She's not being a proactive, listening, communicative partner.
No. Wife. I don't expect you to understand. This is just for us women. She actually tried to push past me, but I stepped into the doorway and completely blocked her. Wife. What's wrong with you? Me. What's wrong with you? You know how shy 12-year-old is. You knew she didn't want you doing something like this, and you did it anyway. I told you it's for her own good. We can't let her grow up with a negative attitude towards something so natural. And we're not. I told you she knows what's going on. She's getting a handle on it. She just doesn't want to talk about it with anyone else right now. Well, it wasn't your business to tell her about it anyway. You were at work. Was I supposed to ignore her for 4 hours until you got home? You could have called me. I would have come home. this is so silly because it seems like she's saying, oh, we need to teach our daughter not to be ashamed, but also her father doesn't have a right to talk to his daughter about it. Like, oh, you should be ashamed of telling your father. It's like, no.
I am interested in the parenting dynamic.
It doesn't make sense.
Of all of this. Cause
like, why is he so cool and she sucks?
Yeah, she's like kind of, I don't know, putting him down, not really working with him.
OP says, it still would have taken you an hour. She was upset. I knew what was going on. I talked her through it. You don't know anything about it. It's never happened to you. And he was ready. He prepared himself. He probably researched stuff. He looked into it. He was ready, man. You weren't there. At this point, I gave up. Point to my wife. No, I've never had a period, but I had 3 older sisters and a living girlfriend before my wife and I met. Plus, we've been married almost 21 years. Plus, he has a 19-year-old daughter. I'm pretty well versed. She again tries to move past me, but I don't move. No, 12-year-old doesn't want this. I'm not letting you make her do it. Fine, have your way. She goes back to the living room and tells the other ladies, the period party's off because I'm being a jackbutt. I lose it, follow her in, and let the women know, calmly, but in no uncertain terms, that I appreciate what they wanted to do, but 12-year-old made it explicitly clear that she did not want this party, and my wife is trying to pressure her into it.
I hate that he had to do that.
Yeah, but she was lying.
Yeah, because you were going to be looked as a bad guy.
Yeah, they would have been like, oh, he's not supportive of the period party. He hates women. He's trying to protect women.
Let me set this straight real quick.
Several of the moms frown at her. My wife starts to backpedal, talking about how she didn't think 12-year-old was being serious. But I ignore her and begin taking down the decorations. Everyone clears out shortly, and once the coast is clear, 12-year-old comes back downstairs. My wife gives her a half-butted, in my opinion, apology, again saying she didn't think 12-year-old was serious. But 12-year-old also ignores her and just starts doing her homework in her usual place at the table. My wife was pissed at me for a week, claiming I undermined her authority as a parent, apparently by not helping her force our daughter into doing something she didn't want to do, and made her look bad in front of the neighborhood moms by telling them she'd be doing this against our daughter's wishes. Then maybe you shouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the a-hole? And there are comments, folks. But what do you think?
You're not the a-hole.
You're not
wife
the a-hole.
Was being not mature about it, letting her selfish needs get a hold of
Absolutely.
her.
Yeah.
No, we're really odd how the wife just kind of went over you and the 12-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's a weird dynamic to have OP be so supportive of his daughter and then this mom just be kind of awful. And also, you know, ragging on OP as well and throwing him under the bus whenever she can. It's weird. It's weird. Why? What are her positives?
Yeah.
Why is she doing this now? Has she ever done this behavior before?
Or is it just that a period party is something really important
for
that
her.
every woman should do, and she's trying to start a tradition, and everyone's missing out on it, and this 12-year-old is actually going to become the worst thing ever because she didn't have a period party.
Yeah, she's like, you don't understand how fun it is.
Also, what is a period party? What are we doing here? Are we just...
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what her period party entails.
We drink fruit punch, strawberries, cranberries. I don't know.
I don't know. And you watch Twilight or something. Comments. Comment 1, not the a-hole. Puberty is an awkward, embarrassing time. Having your parents shine a spotlight on every confusing milestone would be a nightmare. And reply, and puberty embarrassment aside, there's a whole host of privacy issues involved with what OP's wife did. Ignoring her kid's request for privacy is a massive violation of trust, especially for a kid. It teaches her that she can't entirely trust her mother to keep anything a secret. Hopefully the kid can trust and rely on her dad, because if he hadn't advocated for her, a logical outcome would be to just hide every medical and personal issue she faces in the future. That's how you end up with kids that don't tell you when they need help or when they're in trouble. OP may have just prevented a whole lot of future problems by showing his kid that he's a reliable person to talk to. Reply, Dad already is the go-to person, it seems, considering she went to him when it started, and trusted that he would help her, and then when she was trying to hide from what her mother was doing, trusted her dad would protect her. Yeah, good on you, OP. I think he has a beautiful relationship with his daughter. Comment 2, not the a-hole. My mom threw a rag day party for me when I had mine at 13. She walked in with my relatives, a cake that said, Happy Rag Day, doll, while playing Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon. I left. Some parents are absolutely clueless, and they like to make every event about them, not the person it should be about. Your daughter is going to know who she can go to about things that are private and that she needs to sort through in her own mind. It won't be your wife. And comment 3. Not the a-hole. I think it's incredibly creepy when mothers do this for a very inconvenient bodily function. It creeps me out that people say, she's grown up and became a woman, because what it really means is she can get pregnant. I, like your daughter, didn't want to tell my mom because I had heard her tell the neighbor when my sister got hers. This is a strong case for bodily autonomy and not accepting that it is her daughter's right what she discloses to the general public about her own body. And there is an update, but yeah, I think those are very true comments, and I think OP's shown himself to be someone that his daughter can trust.
Good father here. I wouldn't ask the 19-year-old what her thoughts were. Call the 19-year-old daughter, dude, this is what your mom tried to pull. What do you think?
I think that he could ask his 19-year-old to offer some guidance to his daughter, though, to his other daughter.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And say, like, hey, like, or maybe even ask the 12-year-old and say, like, hey, would you want to talk to your sister about this?
Yeah.
Because then you get, like, another woman's perspective, but also someone who's not directly mom and is trying to, like, take over everything.
Yeah, that's good, too.
Because it's nice, like, you do want to talk to other women and stuff. Like, it is nice to have someone who's gone through it, but it doesn't seem like the mom is going to be that person. So, yeah, is there anyone else she can talk to?
That's a good point.
And there is an update. I'm not going to divorce my wife or anything like that. She's an incredible woman, and as corny as it sounds, my one true love. She's been an amazing mom, never done anything like this before, wasn't planning on posting it to social media, she barely even uses Facebook. She just made a misstep here for reasons which I'll get into shortly. I can't respond to every comment, but I'll expand on some which caught my attention. 12-year-old did in fact get the talk from wife when she turned 12. So she knew what was happening, but it was still something she hadn't experienced before. So it threw her a little. I emailed my 2 closest sisters and they both said, in their opinions, her reaction was normal, as one of them put it. Even at best, it can be a shock, regardless of whether or not you're prepared for it, because it just happens. And even if you've felt PMS-style symptoms without ever having felt them before, you might not guess what they are until afterward. It's just like when you're 12 or like when you're young and, you get your first period, it's just kind of like, whoa, it's like here, this thing that I, didn't know when it was going to happen is finally here. And it's just like, it's different.
Surprise.
Yeah.
I'm here now.
It's just, yeah, it's a little bit, it's not scary exactly, but it's just like,
dude, I'd be so scared.
You're getting like, it's like a physical sign that you're getting older and you're like, whoa, okay.
I feel like that for boys, I'm just gonna say boners.
Don't.
Oh no. Wow, what do I do?
What do I do?
It won't go down. I'm scared. The worst is when you have to do a presentation and it just happens.
That's crazy.
That's a canon event for every guy. Didn't that happen to you, Keon? You had to go up in front of the class and talk and it just would appear.
No.
Oh, poor Riley.
Okay, well, it happens.
Do you want to unwind that trauma?
That's rough.
I mean, you just waistband it, dude.
That's rough.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I can't talk about women's experience with this, but I can only imagine. I'd be so scared.
I mean, we can also just talk about could you imagine if there was a party for that? Like your parents threw a party for that?
Yeah, it'd be like, whoa. Yeah, it's it's totally natural and everything, but it's like I don't want everyone to necessarily know.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, there you go. That's kind of like not the same, but it's kind of the same mindset for at least for us. And it's like, why? I'm already awkward as is.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are your most awkward years of like trying to figure yourself out, and your body is figuring itself out.
Self-regulating.
Mm-hmm.
It does more than pee.
12-year-old is like you're at like the most awkward age. You don't want anyone to perceive you.
You really don't. You just kind of want to be invisible until you turn into an adult.
Exactly. No, I did not notice the decorations being put up. I had to go out and run some errands related to my work. Was gone about 3 to 4 hours. More than enough time for wife to decorate. Before we had kids, wife and I agreed we would treat our boys and girls the same when it came to bodily functions. I.e., we'd make sure boys would be comfortable going to her with questions or problems if I wasn't around, and vice versa. And over the years, we would keep up with age-appropriate literature so we'd be equally informed. Just so happened we only had girls. I love that. I absolutely think both parents should be informed and ready to talk about either experience. I think it's helpful for let's like a girl to talk to her mom about an experience that is shared, or like a boy to talk to his father. But I think both parents should absolutely be educated. And, you know.
Yep. And you can go to our classes where we explain how to talk to your kids about it, hosted by Dakota and Keon.
Oh my gosh.
Where they will teach you how to talk about the birds and the bees with your child.
That's crazy. I don't want that.
Oh, sorry. It's Dakota and Sam.
You know what? I trust Keon.
Okay, Dakota and Sam.
I trust Keon to do it.
It's Dakota and Sam then.
Around 10 or so, when they started wanting more detailed explanations of where babies come from and such, we always conducted such conversations as a team, making it clear to each of them they could count on either of us. That being said, there have been some things which I never took part in. For example, the 19-year-old never asked me to take her bra shopping. That was all wife. She did, however, occasionally ask me to pick up tampons or such in the years before she went to college.
That's crazy. Also, my mom said that she gave me the talk when I was 5 and like would always like not mention it, but like explain it to me. I was like, dude, I did not even remember that until I was in 5th grade. I blocked it all out.
Dude, my parents gave me the talk.
When?
When? Like last year. And I was like, this is far too late.
Wait, because we went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
Or like private Catholic school or whatever. Didn't they like go to that class with you? Or like did your mom go? Did you not have that?
I didn't have a class.
It wasn't like a class. It was like a specific like after school, like one of those.
No.
I know what you're talking about.
I had one of those. Like the girls part of my class went to one room and the boys' side went to their room, and like you need an adult, and it talks about, you know, puberty and like.
No, we had you know, spicy ed. But like it was like about our body. Like we had classes to learn about our bodies and stuff, but like it was mostly anything to do with spicy.
And at 5 of like when a mom and dad loves each other, they have a kid. Not like this is where this thing goes to that and the functions of it. It's just sort of like this is what married people like have children. They have you know. In that kind of sense. But I don't remember it.
I think there's age-appropriate ways to talk about it.
That day. That was a weird day.
Yeah.
Because all the boys were like, what is going on?
Whoa.
But how did that talk go?
With my parents?
Did they explain how it all works?
No, they started to say, Sophia. And I went, I don't need you to. I'm 22.
I figured it out, guys.
Why are you trying to have this conversation now? Because I had gotten my first boyfriend and I was 23, I guess. And they were like, Sophia. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, Carly was in it. I think it was like 5th grade, 5th or 6th grade. Yeah, like it was a very like old timey, not old, but it was like very late 90s, early 2000s video.
I think I learned things mostly from my friends, like in around like 4th, 5th grade. Just my friends would be talking about it. They'd be like, "Yeah, it's this. Did you know that?" And that's how I learned everything.
The blurry spot.
Yeah.
The blurry spot.
No 12-year-old did not want to wait to tell me. It happened right after she got home from school on a half day. Wife works 10-hour shifts, so she wouldn't have been there, as I said in my original post, for another 4 hours. 12-year-old has always been closer to wife than me. 19-year-old was closer to me than wife, but who was available. I'm sure that if we'd both been around, 12-year-old would have gone to her mom. I wasn't trying to claim the dialogue was verbatim what we said. My memory isn't that good. But the general tone is there, and some of it I did in fact remember word for word. So after a few days, things around the house went back to normal. Wife cooled off, 12-year-old began to talk to her again, and they didn't appear to have any issues. Except that 12-year-old began coming to me more often about things instead of her mom, because you have shown her that you are a trusted adult. Wife obviously noticed, as they'd been very close before this, and was hurt but said nothing. I mean, girl, if you betray your daughter's trust, it's gonna happen. I guess she figured she deserved it. Finally, one day after I got back from taking 12-year-old to school, wife asked if 12-year-old was still angry with her. I said I didn't think so, and wife just kind of deflated. She looked so miserable that I actually got worried and asked if she was still angry. Wife said no, then admitted that she effed up and gotten too into the concept of what others have been calling a menstruation celebration, which is a great phrase, it even rhymes. Said she'd been so focused on making sure 12-year-old had a positive experience that she brushed aside her reluctance to take part. And in my wife's defense, 12-year-old regularly does this. She'll say she isn't looking forward to doing something, but if she pushes past her shyness and takes part, nearly always has a good time.
That's every 12-year-old girl I've ever met.
Every 12-year-old. So wife had thought this was just another example of 12-year-old doing that and didn't take it seriously. Then wife said something which threw me for a loop. She asked me if I thought 12-year-old hated her now. I was stunned and automatically replied, of course not. She's just and then I kind of trailed off because I didn't really know what to say. Upset was what I finally settled on. Wife was quiet. Then I asked her why she'd been so insistent since she hadn't tried to do this for 19-year-old. No drama there. 19-year-old got hers at 13 while they were out shopping. It was handled before they even left the mall. She said when 19-year-old started, it was just such a busy day that she didn't really have any time to think about it beyond, quick, let's get to the bathroom so I can help. And it wasn't until after this that wife really thought about her own first, which basically consisted of her being told virtually nothing beforehand by her emotionally manipulative mother. They've been no contact for 15 years, barely being 12 when it happened. And when she did go to her mom, only being handed a box of pads and warned not to get pregnant. Ouch.
The times were different.
I understand where this mom's coming from. She didn't do the right thing, but it was coming from a good place.
Yeah, it's
I
always
agree.
From a good place.
You tell them with the resources that you have.
Nothing more was ever said about it between them. My wife had to learn nearly everything from a friend's mom. Yeah, that old woman is a piece of work. But you know what's never work? Listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Happy family. I love that we are able to realize in this family that we're not perfect.
I think she overcorrected. I think the mom said, my mom never did anything, and then I'm going to really make this a special moment. What?
She Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
She offered, yeah, exactly. She's like, I just want to make this a really special moment because my mom never did anything for mine, and then overcorrected. And I think, honestly, just go to your daughter and say that. You're human. I think, kids see their parents as not these perfect people, but as people who are supposed to be perfect. And I think if you come to them and say hey, I made a mistake. I should have listened to you. I'm really sorry I hurt your feelings and betrayed your trust. I won't do that again. Or I'll try not to do that in the future. And just apologize.
Yeah, it's that meme where you're like, when we were all kids and you saw a 25-year-old, wow, they had it all figured out.
Everything, yeah.
And then we hit that, you're like, what?
Oh, man.
And now kids are looking at us? Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wonder what my brothers think of me. Do they think I got it all figured out?
Okay.
I wonder. They're probably like, nah, Riley's just in the land of the fruits and nuts, and he don't know what he's doing out there.
Yeah, they probably do. They probably look up to you.
I'm going to pick these green beans. Who knows?
So true. Wife was determined she wouldn't behave like that towards 12-year-old when it happened, but as events show, she basically went too far in the other direction. Then she asked me what I thought she could do to fix this. I told her the truth. 12-year-old probably wasn't going to feel comfortable confiding in her again for a while, but if she really wanted to apologize, she should tell 12-year-old what she just told me. And so she did. Wife went to pick 12-year-old up from school, and when they got home, I saw they'd both been crying, but also seemed happier. Yay! Turned out I wasn't quite right, and 12-year-old had still been harboring some resentment towards wife. Well, of course she had. For trying to push her into the party, but after hearing wife's story, 12-year-old decided to forgive her, only asking that wife promise not to do something like that again. And 2 months later, this happened in May, things between them seemed to be back to normal. Maybe not the most exciting resolution, but I don't think 12-year-old is going to hold a grudge over this or has permanently damaged their relationship. And some final comments to finish the story off. Comment 1, I think your wife learned a valuable lesson and your kid will probably be okay with her. Albeit this might be one memory she won't look back upon very fondly. But she might look back upon that memory of talking to her mom about her own experiences fondly. It might be the day that I had the period wasn't that great, but the day that my mom came and apologized and we talked about our experiences together and bonded.
Dude, this feels like an episode of a TV show for some reason.
No, I see it. And then at the end, this is the wrapping up and hey, kiddo, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you.
Full House.
Yeah.
I think this is part of growing up too, especially being a parent. I'm not a parent. We're not parents, but
you're a parent.
Our parents embarrassed us sometimes,
Yeah.
I think that's a part of being a parent and that bond. I'm not saying bully them or do it all the time, but it's I'm a dad. Be being an awkward dad, and I feel like that was this,
Parents are humans. They make mistakes.
We were young
and
ones.
You're learning.
Yeah, they were young ones.
Yeah.
We were young ones.
My mother was very supportive of periods. We don't need to be ashamed type, but it's such a change. Such a stupid thing too. I remember being so upset that I'd have to endure this crap for the next 40 years or so. And the idea that I would have to buy period stuff on my own? I didn't, but I thought that at one point as an adult I'd have to. At that point, this is a commenter. At that point in time, it seems so horrible, so everyone will know that I hated even the periods being mentioned. It's definitely something that is natural, but due to age, when it happens, is a very fragile period anyway. Even in families where it's natural and normal, I think girls are overwhelmed. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to be bleeding for the rest of my life now? Oh, no.
Not until the rest of your life.
Well, yeah, not the rest of your life until,
Wow.
you're a little bit older.
Woman doctor here knows more.
Okay, well, when I was a child, I thought I'd be bleeding forever.
I'm sorry that happened, but you were
There are
misinformed.
people it does happen. There's
Yeah,
there are some scenarios like that, but
they last different time periods for everyone. But
when I was, wait, you said 11? What did
What?
you say?
I said, but
no, at
they
what
last
age?
different periods. What?
Oh, I thought the world was not going to exist after a certain period, and it'd all just be a white space. That's what
do you think 2012 was real?
That's what I
That
was
was a
about to
great
say.
movie. I loved that movie.
Yeah.
No.
I never really had to go through like the what is going on thing because I got it much later than I think a lot of my peers. Like I think everyone was getting it at 12.
Can I ask what age?
15. Yeah, so I just started high school and so everyone had already had it and I was like, well, here it is.
Wow.
It was kind of nice though cuz I didn't have to deal with it. I
What do you
I
mean
didn't
you
really
didn't
want
have
it.
to
I
deal
didn't
with
really
it?
want it to come. I was like cuz
What-
I was it
but
was
wait,
everyone
what do you
else
mean
was
you didn't have to deal with it. That's something
until
you had to
15.
deal with.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't have to deal with it when everyone else was dealing
I
with it.
thought
in
you
middle
meant
school.
like when it happened, I didn't have to deal with it.
No,
I'm like,
I-
what
I
do you
did have
mean
to
you
deal with
didn't
it.
have to deal with it?
I did have to deal with it. But prior to that, everyone else was dealing with it. I was like, that sucks for you guys. And then But it comes. Yeah, Kitty B says 15, so lucky. It was nice. It was nice. Like not having to deal with that in middle school, great.
Yeah, you were lucky. Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like
So I knew one of my family friends. She got it at like 8, which I'm like,
whoa.
oof. Yeah, she got it really young. Yeah, but that's the end of that story, folks. Don't be afraid to talk about periods with your kids.
That's right.
Natural, but also don't throw period parties if they don't want it.
I don't think you throw. Maybe like I feel like for the mom and the daughter do that. Like
yeah,
a little bonding
go
moment.
get her like a little treat.
Yeah, get her some ice cream. You know, watch a movie, cry it out.
Yeah, get some
her
chocolate. Take a bath.
I think that sounds nice.
I agree.
If I had a daughter and like, okay, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I remember the first time that my mom went and she got me bras. Except it was a whole thing. I refused to go to the store with her, so she went and got me training bras because I was crying, and she brought them back to me. And that was a nice moment. She was.
Dude, I don't even know if I could have handled having this sister. Oh my gosh. Like, why are you crying all the time?
Why are you crying?
I
Well, that was pre the period. So.
Still.
Oh, was it? Yeah, it was.
Well,
It was
I mean,
middle
my
school.
cousin Olivia, she kind of was around. She was kind of like a sister, but like, I didn't have to live with her. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Dang.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Oh,
I could
man.
not. I don't know what I'd do. Like, oh, you're so emotional. You need so many things.
What do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know. You figure it out.
I do remember that time when my sister first had it, and boy, oh boy,
Yeah.
as a teenage boy
Mhm.
going through that fiasco, oh my god, I was like, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah. I don't know what Sam's
And my
thoughts
dad
on
said the
that
same
was.
thing. He's like, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah.
My bridesmaid is furious with me because she couldn't attend my bachelorette party.
Oh, well, go cry me a river.
I, 26 female, am getting married later this year and have 4 bridesmaids. One is my maid of honor. I'll call her Lisa. Another one lives out of the country and is not involved in any of this drama, so I'll leave her out of this convo entirely. Pam is finishing up law school on the opposite coast from the rest of us. Allie, 26 female, is the last bridesmaid and is one of my oldest friends. By the way, this comes from Drama Llama 95. And if you want to submit your stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, we've been talking about planning a bachelorette party for a little while now, but it took a little while for things to get off the ground. A lot of that was due to my own indecision where I wanted to go and when. Months back, Allie tried to talk to the group about their availability for a bachelorette party, but it was just way too early for anyone to know their schedules. Lisa was in town with me last weekend for a dress fitting, so we were talking about the bachelorette. Typically, it is the maid of honor's duty to plan this, so she has been expecting to plan it all along. We agreed it'd be really fun to visit Pam's town on the other side of the country. I've never been and have just been passing away to visit Pam out there. And Pam has unfortunately been a little left out of some of the other activities, like bridesmaids dress shopping, because she's on the opposite coast. Because Pam is finishing up law school, she asked that we wait until she completes the bar, so she suggested the weekend after. Anything later than that would be tough because it would be very close to the wedding weekend, and most people would be traveling for the weekend as well. Lisa and my fiance both agreed it would be best to just pick a weekend, and whoever can make it, great. And whoever not, oh well, because you can't please everybody.
That's honestly a good way to do it. I feel like even if it wasn't like a wedding thing, when you're trying to make plans with friends, with a lot of friends too, I mean, I guess it's only like 4 bridesmaids, but still, you kind of just gotta, and then have everyone.
Especially as adults, it's so hard for us to like balance time to like get together.
Yeah.
Because you've got work, like you've got law school, you've got the bar exam for Pam. That's an insane amount of stress and something that's honestly should be more priority than like dress shopping or a bachelorette party. As important as that is, I'm not like taking away any importance to that. But, like, this is a one-time thing, whereas like law school, the bar, the rest of your life, that I think has a little more.
Yeah, totally.
I reached out to Allie to see if that weekend would work for her. She said she would be at a wedding an hour away that weekend. I saw this as a great thing because she would already be in the area and we were thinking of doing an extended weekend there anyway, so she'd only miss one night of activities. She said she doesn't want to rent a car or drive anywhere. I said we could still come to her, but she still sounded iffy. I said I would try to work something out with another weekend, but I haven't found anything that works with my own schedule. I mean, I think as the person getting married, your schedule is the most important.
Yeah, if anyone needs to be there, it's you.
I decided to move forward with that weekend and sent out an intro email to my friends, saying that Lisa would handle the details, but I wanted to gauge who could or could not make it. I expected Allie would be disappointed or would maybe try to make it work, but instead, she was angry. She said that it felt like a slap in the face after she tried to organize something earlier in the year and that she was really hurt. I said that I understood and her feelings are justified, but that Lisa should be planning it since she is the maid of honor. Allie then said that Lisa has done a crappy job of communicating anything, and since I'm spending a crap ton of money on your wedding, the least you could have done was check availability because it's clear I wanted to attend the bachelorette. I agreed she was right. I would look into other weekends, but really wanted to do something on the opposite coast to include Pam, and asked if she was free the weekend after. Even though this isn't the best time for me, but I didn't mention that part. And she said she would ask her work, but honestly, it sounds like you have bigger priorities, so do what you want. I can understand her being mad, but then she added, and for the record, F Lisa.
What was the point of that?
Like, I
what
understand
was the point of that?
Bridezilla sometimes, because it's your special day, but Bridesmaidzilla.
Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
Honestly, like OP said, like, okay, sure, maybe she should be checked in with because she really wanted to go. So, like, I would be disappointed. It's like, oh, like, at least give me, a chance or heads up, or like, can we, maybe, is it too late to change it,
Right.
But you don't gotta say F Lisa.
Lisa's trying her best, too. Like, she's trying to make the schedules work for everybody.
Exactly. It's like, okay, great. Well, now that you're throwing that in there, I don't want you there anymore.
Right,
That's how I would feel.
I told her I would give her a call this weekend, but she hasn't responded. Nothing is set in stone yet, no plane tickets booked or anything for the bachelorette, so I could try to move stuff around. I just sent out the email as a feeler kind of thing. I'm so upset at myself for hurting her so badly that she reacted this way, but at the same time, there's a part of me that just wants to move forward. I've learned very early on that wedding planning easily can become a logistical nightmare, and it is impossible to please everyone. LP, why are you mad? Why are you mad? This is your day. And now I know that she has all the hostility towards Lisa, which is totally undeserved in my opinion. I even feel uncomfortable having them all hang out together, and I'm worried about her holding a grudge. What should I do or say to her to make this right? I feel sick at the idea of having a friendship end over something so stupid. I'd rather just cancel everything and not even have a bachelor party at this point. And we have some comments, so, comments from the Peanut Gallery.
Yeah, right. I've heard so many stories of like bachelorette parties or like bridal parties just causing so much drama. And it's like, guys, it's just because we're just getting married. Yeah. We're just in love over here. Can we just party it up and like be chill about it? Like we don't need to make it a giant thing. Like, okay, if you're really sad you can't make it to the bachelorette, maybe rent a car, maybe figure out some little thing that you can do. Or if you really can't go, then hang out with OP another time or something. Or try to find solutions yourself rather than just saying F everyone else and just being mad all of a sudden. No one's doing this maliciously.
There has to be some underlying and unspoken hostility here, especially if it's specifically directed at Lisa in this scenario.
Yeah.
Because this is a big blow up over missing one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is one. You're making this about yourself. This is total main character syndrome.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely undeserved. This is not your wedding. I would understand if this was your wedding and you wanted it to be perfect and people were actively sabotaging your plans. But no, OP is trying to include everybody. She's trying to include the most people possible and even going out of her way to make these plans happen. And you're just making this all about you.
Yeah, exactly.
Not okay.
Not what you should be doing, girl.
There's a lot of entitlement there. A lot of delusion.
Yeah.
So, moving to the comments. Comment 1. I see her point. Reading the story, it's pretty clear that your priority was including Pam and making it easier for Pam. You chose her city and even waited until she would be done with the bar. It's understandable that Allie did not want to somehow fit a bachelorette into her schedule when she was already at a wedding in another town. It's a bad weekend for her. So, from her perspective, her efforts to get something organized earlier were rebuffed, and then you and Lisa went out of your way to accommodate Pam without really caring if it was good for her. She feels like you value Pam more than her. Obviously, it's inappropriate to say F Lisa. The mature response is to say, I'm disappointed, but I understand, and then pull back from the friendship if she feels like it's uneven. The reply was, I have no idea why this comment isn't higher. Allie seemed excited in taking a role in helping plan the bachelorette party. Then she finds out not only is she not helping plan the bachelorette party, but the OP has been trying to coordinate availability with everyone but her first, then asks her if she can shoehorn her attendance in between attending another wedding an hour away. That being said, I think it's pretty easy for OP to fix. Just acknowledge that you realize she feels pretty crappy about things, and it's fair for her to feel that way. Emphasize that she just wants to have a bachelorette party with all her friends, and she'd much rather do it another weekend if it means Allie can attend too. Maybe even throw in, we both know any bachelorette party wouldn't be the same without you. If Allie's truly a good friend, she should apologize for her own hurtful comments, and OP and her, and they can both get back to focusing on making this work logistically. If she doesn't apologize and continues to be butthurt about this and guilt-trip the OP, then maybe she is the witch that everyone else is commenting that she is. But I don't get the sense that she is.
That was full of grace, and I appreciate that they're, looking out for that girl.
Comment 2. Has something happened between Lisa and Allie that you maybe don't know about? Was Allie upset that Lisa was your maid of honor instead of her? Has Lisa been rude to or ignored Allie when it comes to the wedding, or really anything? It just sounds like from her reaction something has happened between her and Lisa that's left a sour taste in her mouth. She's just not handling it maturely. OP says, not that I know of. The only time Lisa and Allie have interacted in person was when we all went bridesmaids dress shopping. They have very different personalities. Lisa is very open and not shy, whereas Allie is much more prim and proper and generally pretty quiet. Lisa and Allie live in the same city, and I know Lisa told her they should hang out sometime, but said Allie didn't really respond. I could see Allie thinking that Lisa was vulgar and rude or something, but no one has said anything to me about that.
Okay. Interesting.
It could just be clashing personalities.
Yeah, definitely could be. But you gotta put up with that when you're gonna be on the same bridal party. Still be nice to each other.
It's still not warranted an effort.
Yeah.
Especially if
exactly.
Going by this, they haven't interacted, they're just different people. It seems just like a too much of a blow up to be warranted. Maybe it's just that OP doesn't know it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's still feeling
Right. But I don't know, maybe we'll find out.
We have an update. I didn't really want to make an update because I was totally embarrassed at how stupid I was in the original. But I do feel like this sub needs more happy updates, so here we are.
Okay.
Happy update. Hey, we don't get enough of those.
We don't.
I told Allie that I was going to call her the next morning to talk. I did. She didn't pick up. I spent most of Saturday worrying myself actually sick and basically crying on and off all day because my mind immediately went to worst case scenario, and I was just so sure she never wanted to speak to me again, and it was all my fault. I called her again yesterday night. She didn't pick up, but she called me back pretty quickly. I immediately opened with my apology, which she accepted. She also said she was sorry for overreacting and saying some of these things, just that she was really hurt and lashing out. I told her that her feelings were justified. What I'm doing now is wrapping the bachelorette weekend into the bridal shower weekend, so people only have to travel once. Allie made it clear that I didn't have to do this for her, but I told her I wanted to because I really do. There's stuff to do near where the bridal shower is, so we should be able to find plenty of stuff to do. Once we get a head count of who can make it, I am totally backing out and letting the bridesmaids plan amongst themselves together. I am also going to visit Pam separately after she finishes the bar, so I will still get a chance to visit that city, which should be fun.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
I feel like that is probably the best case scenario for everyone involved. Like
Yeah.
traveling for a destination wedding, I see the appeal, but also it's hard for the people who are attending.
It's very, very hard for sure. Depending on what the like destination is. Like if some people are gonna be traveling anyway, like, you know, if it's like in America or something like that, and they're like gonna have to go to a different state anyway, so might as well like, I don't know, do it in a prettier state than your own, something like that. I could, you know, that's like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. But like if you're going to like another country or something like that, that makes it difficult. But
Or like an island resort getaway for a
Yeah.
vacation.
yeah, right. But yeah, people are doing a lot when they're attending weddings like that.
My friends' kids are greedy with food, and I don't want them over again.
I don't know. Maybe you should feed them.
No. Let them fight for it. I, 28 female, have 2 kids, and for my son's birthday, about a little over a month ago, we decided to celebrate on the weekend by taking a trip to the big water park about an hour away. We wanted to keep the guest list small since we were already doing something at home on his actual birthday. The drive is far, and admission is pretty pricey. By the way, this comes from user AdSimilar3960 on the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit, and if you want to submit your own stories, why don't you go on down to the OK Storytime subreddit and submit them there. So I created a Facebook event, and I invited a few of our closest family and friends, stating that all guests would pay for themselves. This ain't free. We'd provide lunch, cupcakes, and a meeting area with shade and decorations. When I was going through my friends list, I accidentally clicked on someone, 24 female, let's call her Sarah, who wasn't originally on my guest list. Sarah is someone I'm not super close with. I only met her through mutual friends. She's never been invited to any of my children's birthday parties before, since we mostly only see each other at events through mutual friends a couple times a year. We don't hang out on our own terms, and while her kids and mine are somewhat the same ages, they're not close friends by any means. Sarah's kids are rude, entitled, and get unlimited, unsupervised screen time and say cuss words, the exact opposite of my children. When I created the Facebook event, I didn't even realize I'd clicked her name until I got the notification that she had marked herself as going. I checked the settings, and no, it's invite by host only. Crap, I just seen her at a previous event and figured it would be rude to uninvite her now. So what's the harm in adding a couple more people, right? Wrong. Sarah has 4 kids, all between 5 months and 6 years old. She's unfortunately raised some red flags within our friend group regarding not showing up as a good friend, setting bad examples for her kids, and getting too involved in others' business, borrowing money, and issues surrounding food consumption. It's a lot of issues. Sarah's family noticeably eats more than any other family at events. At my bestie Tatiana's daughter's birthday party, Sarah alone ate 5 slices of pizza, her fiancé 4, and her 2 oldest children each ate 3. That's 16 slices for her family alone. When the pizza arrived, they were first in line and took the majority before others could eat. Tatiana and her husband didn't even get a slice because they waited for everyone else, and the birthday girl herself only got 1 slice. So people noticed and whispered, but no one said anything. That's the problem. Then at Thanksgiving, another friend, Kaylee, invited Tatiana for Friendsgiving. During a group FaceTime, Tatiana mentioned going to Kaylee's. Sarah mentioned she'd be in town visiting in-laws, so Kaylee politely said if she had time to stop by for a quick visit, she'd love to see her. Sarah apparently took this as a dinner invitation. Yep, that's what you did. You invited her to dinner. You can't be mad that she's going to show up after you're like, I'd love it if you could stop by.
We're going to be having a dinner. You should totally swing through.
So, later, Sarah texted Kaylee saying she was too tired to visit, but asking if Kaylee could make her a to-go plate with leftovers and meet her at the door. Kaylee was appalled. She'd never invited Sarah to dinner, and to ask for leftovers in the same breath as declining to visit is unreal. Now, back to my son's birthday party. The water park admission is expensive with no group discounts. If your child is above 36 inches tall, they pay full price. Sarah doesn't work, and her fiance is between jobs. She mentioned to Tatiana that she didn't have a babysitter for her youngest and was broke, asking to borrow money for admission. She's food insecure. They're food insecure.
And you clearly know this from what you're typing.
I mean, you should be able to gather that from
Context
this
clues,
a little bit.
Girl. Get 2 extra pizzas. Send them home with pizza. Leftover pizza. Here you go. You want to take this home?
That's a pretty rough situation. Can't really get your own job as Sarah because you got 5 kids. And then husbands in between jobs. That's illegal. Can't do that. Not allowed. So Sarah's asking money to borrow for admission. Tatiana, who Sarah still owed money to from before, explained she couldn't afford to pay for Sarah's family on top of her own. Sarah got noticeably irritated and ended the call. 2 days before the event, I called Sarah to confirm attendance. She said she wasn't sure but would let me know. She never did. The day of the party, I ordered a big Costco sandwich platter, chips, candy, and fruit and veggie platters. More than enough for my confirmed guests. Everyone starts arriving, and walking through the crowd, I see Sarah, her fiance, and their 4 kids. I had no problem with them coming, but a heads up would have been great.
I mean, she did originally invite RSVP, yes.
You do
so
kind of.
I would have assumed they were coming.
During the party, their family ate most of the food because they don't have any. As I was cleaning up before singing happy birthday, Sarah asked if there were more sandwiches left. Their family had all already eaten. I opened the platter and there were only 6 sandwich halves left. Sarah grabbed 3 halves. Her fiance reached in and took 2 more, leaving only 1 half.
Yes, 'cause that's 5 for the 5 of them and their family.
That's pretty wild.
Yes, it does sound like the family lacks a lot of
tact.
The tact in how they're going about it. Like, the birthday person should eat first. Like, they should hold back and just take a little bit of it at a time. At the same time, no one else is in a place where they're showing up to a party hungry, and now they're around food that they're allowed to grab. Like, give them way more grace than you're giving them.
Yeah,
but they could have better etiquette about how they go about it.
Both sides need to be like, yeah, I agree. Gayla says everyone sucks here. I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Both sides need to be going about the way that they communicate better. If you're food insecure and your friend group doesn't know, you don't need to keep it a secret.
Right.
And if you have someone in your group who's like eating all of your food all the time and you're like, why are they doing this? You need to like have a conversation with them about it.
Are you guys okay? Do you need food?
Because it's like, I don't know, some people who've grown up and like never had food insecurity, it could be like, oh, like I almost don't even think about that being an option. And it's like, you're lucky. Okay, when my daughter asked for a sandwich, I gave her that last piece. I, the one who paid for the platter, only got to eat 1 half because I was busy chasing my kids and hosting. Sarah's kids had been asking, when's it time for cupcakes? Every few minutes, despite my repeated explanations. Once I set the cupcakes out, before I could even grab a lighter for the candles, Sarah's daughter pushed past me and stuck her fingers directly into the blue icing on the cupcake at the top of the 3-tier stand, the exact one I was going to put my son's candle on. I was furious. I told her not to stick her fingers in the cupcakes and to sit down and wait like everyone else or she wouldn't get any. She ran away crying to find her dad. I didn't care. Don't touch my son's cupcakes. They may be like down on their luck and food insecure, but it sounds like they are raising gremlins.
Yeah.
Like,
stick your finger in the cupcake.
Anyway, after we sang, I handed out cupcakes to everyone. With Sarah's last-minute addition, there was only enough for everyone to have 1 cupcake each. I announced this from the start. Oh, while I was helping my daughter in the bathroom, Sarah's kids decided to help themselves to seconds. Every other child had 1 cupcake only. Sarah's kids each got 2. Sarah's family ate most of the food and were also the only ones to not bring a gift. Not that gifts are required, but I've never shown up to a party empty-handed, especially one I didn't confirm attendance for, but they did. Now, my daughter's 3rd birthday is coming up next month. I'd never invited Sarah to any of my children's parties before, since we're not close and our children aren't really friends. I want to keep it small with super tight close friends and family who are a part of her everyday life. I also don't want to invite Sarah because she's not a close friend and her family of 6 eats enough food for a family of 16. That's a stretch. I'm worried that since she was invited to one party, she might expect future invitations and be offended if she doesn't get one. Every single other person from my son's party will be invited to my daughter's party. I'll only be excluding Sarah's family. She loves drama and makes petty comments when excluded, and my anxiety, combined with my people-pleasing tendencies, has me overthinking this. So would I be the a-hole for not inviting someone to my daughter's birthday party because they have poorly behaved kids and their family eats too much? At the end of the day, even if I am the a-hole, I really don't want to invite people to my child's birthday party who don't have a meaningful connection with her. And we have some comments. Everyone sucks here, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to learn how to talk and be real with each other. All right? Because y'all kind of suck for not just being like, hey, not cool how your kids are acting and not cool. Why are you guys doing this? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Do you need food? You want to go? Let's go to the food pantry. Let's go do something. There's got to be local resources somewhere for people who have food insecurity. Comment to number 1. You're the a-hole for allowing yourself to be treated that way. Not the a-hole for not inviting rude, entitled people to your events. Got him. Got us in the first half. Woo! You aren't supposed to or expected to do that to yourself or your other guests. A reply says, I'm betting it won't work to just not invite her since she got invited before. She may find a way to insert herself into the party. I think you should call her and tell her exactly why she isn't invited to your house for the party and will not be invited in the future to any event you have. Bullies need to be put in their place. Every situation needs a hero, and you should be the hero here. Allowing her and her family to join in caused your child to be deprived of fully enjoying the party. It would even be better if the other moms joined you in a conference call since they've been bullied as well. No, you psycho. What are we talking about?
Also, was your 3-year-old's party ruined? Does your 3-year-old remember the birthday party?
Guys, we don't need to all gang up on them and be like, you're excluded and you're banned because you keep taking all the food. You're crazy for that, commenter. These people probably need this food because they don't have any money and they might not have any food. But they're wrong for not saying it, and you're wrong for not being like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
They are bullies, and you all need to stand up to them and let them know they are not welcome. And if they show up after that, politely but firmly let them know they must leave. Comment 2 says, OP, you need to grow a dang backbone. No way am I letting someone just come in and eat everything without calling them out. I'm an a-hole like that. Comment 3 says, not the a-hole, no need to lie either. If asked, you say your family shoves food down their throats like a bunch of offensive linemen, and I can't afford that. That is, I guarantee you, something this person would never say in their life.
It's a Costco
That's an absurd thing to say.
Of sandwiches.
This is not the caviar and gold leaf hamburger.
Right. We didn't
whatever,
get individual restaurant meals. We got a platter of subs.
Come on.
Platter of hoagies, if you will.
And that's the end of that story.
Oh, damn. Okay.
That's, again, a crazy comment. I haven't been food insecure, but I know people who have been, and it's like a horrible place to be. And it's crazy, again, I guess if you've never been there sometime, or you don't know anyone who's been there, it could be something you completely overlook as a possibility. But that's so clearly what's going on here.
That's what it feels like.
Very clear. If it's not, then they're just goblin people, but that's what's happening.
I still
I would
on
bet
the,
everything on it.
Everyone sucks a little bit there, but help each other out.
I don't even know if sucks is the right word. It's just the situation sucks. Everyone needs to do better at communicating.